Good evening. This is a special meeting, Calexico City Council, Calexico Redevelopment Successor Agency, and Calexico Financing Authority. Monday, March 8th, and it is 6:35.
Due to the declaration of emergency, this meeting is being held pursuant to the authorization from the governor's executive orders. Some or all of the city council members may participate in this meeting by teleconference as authorized by Executive Order N-2920, issued by Governor of California on March 17, 2020. Until further notice, there will be no public access to city council meetings. However, public participation is available in the following ways. Members of the public are encouraged to watch the live stream via communityspectrum.org live, via the Calexico City Hall Facebook page. You may join us via Zoom or via telephone. Information on how to log on is available on our city website on our agenda for today. Members of the public will be able to make public comments in the following ways. Submit public comments via email by 2 p.m. on Monday, March 8th to ggarcia@calexico.ca.gov or via fax at 760-768-2103. These comments will be read aloud during the meeting. Make public comments via Zoom by submitting a request via Zoom chat. Persons should submit name and section of the agenda they wish to speak on, such as public comments, or state the agenda item number.
Roll call.
Mayor Rola Fernandez.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Moreno.
Here.
Councilmember Ureña.
Here.
Councilmember Romo. Here. Councilmember Garcia.
Here.
We have a quorum, Mayor.
Okay. Pledge of Allegiance. You want to Galindo or RDD? Director? Do his honors.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Figueroa, will you give us our mission statement?
Together, we pledge to provide effective and efficient services in a courteous and respectful manner to improve the quality of life for all in our unique border community. Viva Calexico.
Okay, invocation. Mr. Javier.
Thank you, Mayor. Dear loving Father, thank you on behalf of all who are gathered here today for many and abundant blessings. Thank you for life itself, for the measure of health and health as we fulfill our callings. Therefore, I pray for our mayor and for our various level city staff, our colleagues, particularly for us who assemble as council. I'm asking that you would graciously grant us wisdom to govern amid this pandemic, to govern with sense of welfare and true needs of our people, govern with justice and righteousness. Amen.
Amen.
Madam Mayor, can the police chief read a part of it? May the police chief read a part of the invocation I invited him to?
No. What are you talking about?
I invited the police chief.
The meeting is going to continue.
Okay, we don't acknowledge
The
Kumeya's land
meeting
here.
is going to continue. Go ahead, Madam Mayor. Okay? Approval of the agenda. I would like to move item, the city council comments and reports of meeting attended to number 10.
Okay, you want to move the comments to the last portion of the meeting?
Yes.
Okay, I'll move. I'll
Okay.
move them.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Councilmember Garcia.
Aye.
Councilmember Romo. No. Councilmember Ureña.
No.
Mayor Pro Tem Moreno.
Yes.
Mayor Rola Fernandez.
Yes.
Motion passes 3-2.
Okay, presentations. Proclamation honoring Robert Bobby Ortiz for 42 years of service to the city of Calexico. We don't have a proclamation. Excuse me?
It's not on the agenda?
Moving on to item number 2, bi-weekly COVID-19 update presentation by fire and police departments.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and City Council, to all our staff in attendance today and our guests as well, and most importantly to our citizens of Calexico that are watching via our platforms. My name is Diego Sevilla. I'm the fire chief here for the wonderful city of Calexico, and today's presentation is on the COVID update. Obviously, you know, COVID is an ever-evolving topic. There's a lot of topics to cover, so I will try to be as brief but as thorough as possible. I'm going to start off with our dashboard number for the city of Calexico. We have a total cases of 6,845. We have active cases of 24, and we have recovered 6,605. Our deaths are 216. So the next topic I'm going to cover is the tier. We still find ourselves in the purple tier, but God willingly on Wednesday, we could possibly move over to the red tier. So what does the red tier entail for us? It allows a couple more retail buildings to be at 50% of their capacity. Places of worship in the church are 25%. Our theater here in Calexico can open up with maybe a 25% as well. Some of our restaurants, or most of our restaurants, can open indoors with 25%. And the real important thing here is the schools can now reopen if they've submitted their plans to the county and have been approved. So as far as testing for COVID-19, that is still a very big item that we want to make sure everybody gets tested. One of the testing sites that we have set up for the city of Calexico on March 10th is going to be at the Calexico One Stop, and that is at 301 Heber Avenue. That starts at 7 to 7 p.m. On March 12th, we're going to have it at the Hector Mario Esqued building. That's located at 850 Edie, and that too is also from 7 to 7 p.m. There's also various doctor clinics throughout our city and healthcare providers that are also doing these COVID testing. As far as vaccinations so far for the Imperial County has been administered 33,350. This week alone, that's what we have received. So this week, we just received 8,510 vaccines, and those are scheduled to be administered. So in total, we've administered about 30,000 for the Imperial County. So where can you get these vaccines? The most healthcare providers are providing the vaccine at this moment. Here in Calexico, you can get it at the Hope Pharmacy, Clínicas de Salud de Pueblo, Farmacia del Pueblo, at Dr. Vo's Medical Center, and at the Calexico Health Center, and also the Calexico Wellness Center. And the city of Calexico will be helping these people out, and we're providing our assistance through our CMS lighting boards that were recently purchased. And what these are for is to be able to help inform the public on where they can get their vaccine, or in the future vaccinations and testing. A couple weeks ago, we were able to help out Dr. Vo. Dr. Vo was able to administer close to 700 vaccines within a 48-hour notice. It was a quick plan, and it worked pretty well. The Calexico Health and Wellness Center also provided a drive-through clinic and was also able to give out some vaccinations up in the event about 100 the first day, and I want to say 100 the second day as well. So in total, these two vaccination clinics were able to vaccinate close to 2,000 citizens within the city of Calexico, with more to come. One of the questions that I was asked to produce today were the number of calls that your fire department has responded to in regards to COVID. So the fire department COVID calls that we responded to for PUI, that's a person under investigation that presumably has COVID, we had a total of 2,997 patients with a confirmed 784 confirmations. And on that note of COVID, we wanted to bring to light this in a warning or an alert from Attorney General Becerra. California Attorney General Xavier Becerra today issued an alert warning consumers about some healthcare providers reportedly charging a patient COVID fee when seeking care. A COVID fee is an additional charge appropriately for more frequent cleaning and disinfecting and greater use of personal protective equipment, also known as PPE. Please know that this is not true and that you should not be paying a fee to get the vaccine or to get your COVID test, as most of this is free. And I think that's my report, unless you guys have questions for me.
Chief, Madam Mayor, what do you know about, some insurances already notifying their I guess, subscribers that now starting, I don't know if it is effective already or coming soon, that, that is actually going to be, the testing will have to be paid through a copay, actually, that the insurance won't be covering, that testing anymore, so that there will have to be a copay.
Right.
Anything on that?
I can reach out a little bit on that. So I know Medicare and Medi-Cal patients should not be being charged for the COVID test or vaccination, right? There is some insurances, like the Trifecta Insurance Company, who will be charging a copay for these stuff. So it depends on your insurance carrier, yes.
Okay. Yeah, because I did get a couple of phone calls on that their insurance were already notifying some of their, these individuals that they will have to pay a copay now. Okay. So, and I said, well, unfortunately, you're going to have to call your insurance, carrier and find out. So just some information that's coming out.
Make sure that you verify.
Yeah, okay.
Mayor, I have something to add. Mayor, can I say something?
Any more questions? No?
Can I say?
Yes.
Thank you, Mayor. Chief, thank you. I commend you and also Chief Gerardo for doing an outstanding job. I was out there present on both the clinic with Calexico Wellness Center as well as Dr. Vos. And in one particular situation that happened, just because we're limited on resources, there was a need of traffic control. I know Mr. Ureña's father was out there he's actively involved with Heffernan Memorial. He came up to me and requested traffic control. Obviously, I got on the phone and talked to Chief Gerardo, who eventually ended up sending a patrol car as a drive-by, because the citizens were trying to sneak in and, unorganized, whatever it was. So thank you for taking care of that. Also, you, Chief Gerardo, for responding quickly and taking care of the matter of professionalism. Thank you.
I appreciate that. I also want to say thank you to my staff that was participating and assisting with these clinics. And I also want to give a special thanks to my wife, who volunteered at both clinics to administer the vaccine.
Yes, you did.
Thank you, Mayor. That's all.
Okay. Any more? No? Okay, well, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, we're moving back to one proclamation honoring Robert Bobby Ortiz for 42 years of service to the city of Calexico. Whereas the Calexico City Council believes that it is important that we honor and acknowledge those people who contribute to the citizens of the city of Calexico, and
Whereas the Calexico City Council here today expresses its appreciation to Robert Bobby Ortiz and honor him for his distinguished 30-year career with the city of Calexico and dedicated service to the residents of Calexico, and
Whereas Bobby began his career with the city of Calexico, where he held the following positions throughout his years of service: 1979 maintenance worker, sanitation department; 1980 water distribution labor, water treatment plant; 1981 water distribution laborer, full-time water treatment plant; 1983 water distribution crew, water treatment plant; 1999 water distribution crew leader, water treatment plant.
Whereas in 1983, Bobby also served as volunteer firefighter with the Calexico Fire Department. Whereas through his work as a conscientious and dedicated employee, he is promoted to the position of project inspector with the Engineer Public Works Department in 1999. And
Whereas after giving the city of Calexico 42 years of dedicated service, Bobby decided to retire on February 25, 2021, to spend time with his wife Susana, their children and grandchildren, and whereas the city of Calexico wishes to honor Bobby Ortiz for his distinguished service to the citizens of this great city and commemorate his many years of service to the city of Calexico and its citizens.
Now therefore, be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Calexico wishes to express its sincere appreciation to Bobby Ortiz for his loyalty to the City of Calexico and wish him much happiness as he begins his exciting new chapter in his life. In witness, therefore, I hereby affix my signature and official seal of the City of Calexico on the 3rd day of March, 2021. Okay, moving on to presentation by Mayor Pro Tem Moreno regarding the Farm Workers Service Center.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, City Council members, staff, and the citizens of Calexico. Before I get to my presentation, I want to start with a statement. From the depth of need and despair, people can work together, can organize themselves to solve their own problems and fill their own needs with dignity and strength. Cesar Chavez. Now, as we know, Calexico for decades has had an issue with the farm workers where they spend a lot of time, over the decades, they spent a lot of time making line in Mexicali as they move across to our city, and then they ended up in the cold weather without any restroom facilities. So the Imperial Valley makes its own, it's one of the country's most dynamic migrant regions, with thousands of Hispanic farm workers entering the agricultural labor market each year. There's an estimated of 2.4 million hired farm workers in the U.S., including migrant, seasonal, year-round, and guest program workers. Now, approximately 15,000 of farm workers cross our border each day to work the agricultural fields in Imperial Valley. They are essential workers because they provide food for our tables. We depend on those families and the hardworking people. Some live in Mexicali for obvious reasons, more affordable lifestyle, and some live here. And as you know, we have two kinds of agricultural farm workers. We have the seasonal and we have the migrant. The migrant is the ones they work here, they follow the Culeros Corrida, and then they go up north to Salinas, and then they come back when the lettuce season is back. And then we have the seasonal, which are the ones that stay here when the corrida or the lettuce season, particularly lettuce season. And then they choose to stay here and don't follow the corrida, and so they stay here. I come from a family, my father was a field worker. My father is Juan Moreno and Maria Moreno is my mother. My father has passed away. So I grew up in a farm worker family, unbeknownst to a lot of people. So I lived those experiences. With my father waking up early and going to the fields. And eventually he progressed and became a foreman. So I understand the situation that Calexico has had for many, many, many decades. And I'm not here to put fingers on anybody. It just has got out of control. So what I propose is a farm worker center, service center. I'm working on a proposal at this time. It's a draft proposal. So in the meantime, what I did on February the 24th at 10 a.m., I assembled some stakeholders in the community, and we had a meeting to discuss what would be some of those issues. Obviously, on the short term, we're talking about the environmental conditions, whether it's the cold or the hot days, and also the sanitary conditions where we don't have any. I believe the Farm Workers Service Center would not only address the short-term problems, but in the long term, we can have a service center where we have those families who stay here, who choose to stay here, in a service center where they can go and get training, have legal services, notary public, who knows, anything for their families. So we're addressing that in the long term. So we understand the problem statement. My proposal identifies a problem statement. We have 90% of our winter vegetables consumed in the U.S., from lettuce and spinach to to broccoli and cauliflower, which is a main source of vegetables in our county. And as I said before, approximately 15,000 of those are here in our area. So we do know that the problem is that city lacks services or a centralized location for farm workers. Therefore, many of them are dispersed throughout the city without shelter and sanitary facilities. And when I say shelter, we're talking about temporarily, because they only stay here a couple of hours to get away from the cold. The description for the proposal, we have a migrant farm worker is defined as an individual who is required to be absent from a permanent place of residence for the purpose of seeking remunerated employment in agricultural work. That's according to the Census for Agriculture in 2014. The objective for this proposal or this Farm Workers Service Center is to provide support to the farm workers and their families according to the weaknesses and opportunities identified in the proposal's planning process. And we do have to do a SWOT analysis to arrive at that, identify those areas. The center will improve the lives of thousands of people in the farm worker community by addressing many of these issues. And what are the alternative livelihoods and options identified by the city? The plan will provide a direction for temporary shelter, supports and assists farm workers and their families to address the identified needs. And I have a few goals and objectives that align with the listed objectives. I have 3. The plan covers 3 statutory objectives: providing decent and reasonable temporary shelter. Number 2, creates a suitable living environment. And 3, expands on health and economic opportunities. The center would be a good place where we can tap into our local healthcare providers, whether it's Dr. Volk, Calexico Wellness Center, including the Heffernan Healthcare District. The plan also develops around a collaborative community engagement process, because we need to have the community also their input. Several needs were identified. I identified relating to the problems: ensuring sustainable investment for temporary shelter, supporting continued temporary shelter efforts. That's goal number 1. Goal number 2, enhance the quality of life of Hispanic farm workers and seasonal farm workers as well. One of the objectives would be support infrastructure improvements and community efforts. Number 2, prevent temporary shelter discrimination in Calexico. Number 3, expand access to public services to encourage self-sufficiency. And the last goal I identified is an all-inclusive strategy to eliminate and prevent the lack of shelter forever. Support activities to end deficits in temporary shelter chances will be number 1 objective. Number 2, collaborate with local stakeholders to share data and resources. And number 3, expand activities that focus on preventing access to services. I do have a methodology. We already did the first meeting, which was on the 24th of last month at 10 a.m. And we sat down. In that meeting, we have myself was there, Councilman Garcia was there. I'm sorry, Mayor Pro Tem Ariola Fernandez was there. Our city manager, Mr. Miguel Figueroa. We had executive director from the Coalition of Labor, Agriculture and Businesses, Shelby Dill. We had Ag Commissioner, Imperial County Agricultural Commission, Carlos Ortiz. We have a CEO for Catholic Charities Diocese of San Diego, Mr. Vino Pajanur. We have Mr. Lovio from Development Services, Arno Lovio. We have Aracela Nunez Alvarez. She is, I'll give you a little background on her in a minute. We had also Brenda Martinez, which is Las Palmas SWAT meet. We had also Collective Wellness Center CEO Blanca Morales. I did invite Dr. Vo and Mr. Cardenas. I believe he's the president of that nonprofit organization. They were not there. He later told me that they had some conflict of schedule, so he wasn't able to attend, but we're in communications with him. Mr. Polo Rivera, a farm worker contract for Sun Harvest. It's an interesting fellow for me because he's been in the business for about roughly 40 years. He is a stakeholder in our community, resides in Calexico. He's already in communications with some of the farm workers, and they love the idea of a farm worker service center. And we also invited Teresa Romero she's a current president from the United Farm Workers of America. We also invited the Cesar Chevas Foundation, the granddaughter. She was not there. Jesus Eduardo Escobar, District 1, Supervisor District 1, was present. And also Javier Gonzalez for Director Division 4. Out of all those stakeholders, we are still in communication. And as you know, it's going to be a community-based project, and we require a nonprofit organization who's going to take the lead on this. And we do have a letter of interest coming this week from the Catholic Charities. They're a pedigree in the nonprofit world, and they do have the financial backup, as well as Araceli Nunez Alvarez. She's a doctor from Cal State Dominguez Holding. She runs a nonprofit organization in San Diego, very well connected to state legislators, and her husband, by the way, and also lobbyists. So those are the ones out of the meeting that we have that show interest. The letter of interest is coming sometime this week. So I wrote a vision and mission statements. The vision would be envision a place where all Hispanic farm workers and their families have the opportunities and resources needed to thrive. A community that welcomes and values the contributions, strengths, and assets of farm workers. And the mission would be to improve the life of Hispanic farm workers and their families through equity, health, and economic opportunity. The farm workers are the heart of the center and encourage a champion labor. Like I said, collaboration and coalition building is part of the proposal. We're working towards that. Obviously, we're going to have a public outreach. It's important that as we move along in the next phase, we at some point when this proposal is put together, and we invite the public so they can see the work we're doing to address these issues with the farm workers. It's important that we have also their input and their approval, obviously. We also have a section for health and care access. Under the Affordable Care Act, there is some funds there that can receive coverage. As you know, farm workers whose annual income is below 138% of the federal poverty line may receive health care through Medicaid, whereas those above 138% may be eligible for subsidized insurance. So what is the concept of this Farm Worker Service Center? As the stakeholders during the meeting, we aspire to be the catalyst that spurs investment in underserved farm workers and their families and sets the bar for what can be achieved both individually and community-wide. So the plan is to galvanize an initiative into one long-term effort to build wealth and lasting change in our farm workers community by directing economic investing and fostering a myriad of new initiatives. Cesar Chavez believed that community service is the only way to achieve long-lasting, transformational, positive change. This proposal will inspire a sense of community and encourage people to serve others while also helping our own families to prosper. It would be I would envision a 5,000 square foot. I know that we do have a location identified. We have a couple here identified. We did talk about potentially the orthopedic clinic located at 321 East First Street, and that's also a potential site. What I would venture even to say is that we do have a farm worker, Rufino Contreras, I believe, foundation of Mr. Rufino Contreras, was a farm worker who was killed, was murdered many decades ago. And I have to be part of that investigation while I was a young police officer back when I was working as a reserve for the Sheriff Department. So that's very close to my heart. So obviously because my family is a field worker. I would even venture to say that we will contact the widow and maybe call it the Rufino Contreras Farm Worker Services Center. I mean, as you know, he is gravesite is at cemetery here at the Centinela. They already have a foundation, and what would be perfect and honor to honor him for giving his life as a farm worker, providing a service center for his family and all his farm workers. It would be a center where we have integrated services, and Araceli, Dr. Araceli Nunez Alvarez said it well, that what her experience with working with this type of project is that on one hand you have the services for the farm workers, but what do we do to tell the young ones, the teenagers, the family, the kids, their children? I remember my father telling me, okay, ¿te vas a ir al field o quieres ir a la escuela? What do you want? All right, plain and simple. And we want to make sure these kids are going to the service center so they can explore other options, so they can have other options, not just a field worker. Not saying it's a bad, okay, it's a humble profession. My dad worked it and my sisters worked it. But when we empower those young kids to say, hey, I don't have to be a farm worker. I can be an attorney, I can be a doctor, I can be other things in my life. So it'd be a service center for them so they can choose that. And training, education is an aspect for those families. I believe they deserve that. So we selected the location. So we have public outreach. We have some outreach engagement tools. Obviously, it's a county-wide coalition effort. A council of operation, I would envision, would be Mondays through Fridays, and it would be limited right now at a short term because it's not a center that's going to be open 24 hours. It's going to be some people working there, and I envision it to be Monday through Sundays from 12 a.m. to 5 a.m. It gives them the opportunity as they cross the border, they can go to the center, seek the comfort and the warmth and drink a coffee, Wi-Fi, talk to their families, while the contractors are getting ready to pick them up and take them to the fields, so they can rest. So they have to be able, and obviously they can use the sanitary facilities. And it would be open and close as needed. So we also have staffing requirements. I would envision more than 3 people working there. The general accounting aspect of this proposal, the center will require an operating budget process. The center will recover the cost of its operation through a charge rate basis, and the charge to its users will be, I would think, $5 will help to recover the cost of depreciation because we're not making business. It's not a return investment. It's not that. It also gives them a sense of, hey, it's mine, it's yours, but it's also we got to maintain it. You got to take care of it. So it's going to depreciate over time. So that money will go for them. Okay? And the maintenance, obviously, we have, which is a critical aspect of the operations. And then the financing. In terms of financing, there's all kinds of grants out there. Community development block grants, which I currently use for capital improvements, affordable housing, and public service activities. Federal grants, community development, like I said, grants. Farm Worker Association of Florida, Incorporated, that's one of the organizations that was identified that helps the farm workers, and the Ag Business Funding, among others. So to wrap it up here, my proposed budget, expenditure budget, its collaboration is anticipated with other nonprofit agencies in the community. Thus, many of our operating expenses could be utilized as an in-kind plus future foundation grants of philanthropic funds. We have a payroll of $160,000 for a whole year. Legal and accounting, $8,000. Supplies, $15,000. Equipment, $10,000. Insurance, $14,000. Utilities, $16,000. Printing, $8,000. Maintenance, $26,000. Miscellaneous, $30,000 for a total around $270,000. So in conclusion, The Farm Workers Center will allow us to share a vision that combines project quality and uniqueness with established processes to consistently meet the key goals of this project, which is excellence, operational, scope, and budget. We will attend to the needs of the farm workers and their families and to make their dreams a reality, particularly looking at the big picture to determine as a group we can best add benefit. The city is ready to begin as soon as possible with this project, providing itself and delivering community-based services that produce equity, health, and temporary shelter opportunities and sanitary facilities. I would like to thank the stakeholders. I would like to thank all of you tonight, council members, for the attention, and for their partnership and for the opportunity to present this proposal, and look forward to working together towards this project's success. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Okay. At this moment, I would like everybody to stand. I would like a moment of silence for the victims of the tragic accident that occurred last week. Our deepest condolence goes to the family. Thank you. Announcements, Gary?
These proceedings may be viewed on the City of Calexico website at www.calexico.ca.gov the Friday following the City Council meetings. Community office hours with Mayor Ariola Fernandez will be held the fourth Tuesday of the month from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Please contact the City Clerk's office at 760-768-2102 for an appointment.
Public comments and public appearances. Our IID Director, Mrs. Galindo. Welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you for allowing me to speak in person, first of all. It is important to have the element of presence sometimes to really carry a message across. Good evening, Honorable Mayor Ariola Fernandez, members of the City Council, City Manager, staff, and audience. My name is Norma Galindo, and I am a member of the Imperial Irrigation District Board of Directors and immediate past president. IID directors are elected by district, but have the responsibility to all ratepayers and water users served by the district. Tonight, I am here to respond to comments made at your last board meeting by IID Director Javier Gonzalez. Firstly, I commend Director Gonzalez on his enthusiasm as he begins to learn his job as a newly elected director of Imperial Irrigation District. It bears mentioning that the IID is the largest irrigation district. The largest, I have teacher voice. The largest irrigation district in North America, and the third largest public utility in California. While enthusiasm is desirable, one must exercise eagerness with informed content, facts, respect, dignity, and integrity. At your last meeting, Director Gonzalez claimed that I, Norma Galindo, as one of the directors of IID, whose division includes a relatively small part of Calexico, have done nothing for the city. His remarks were not only disrespectful, but grossly inaccurate. I am an alumna of Calexico High School, and I have been a teacher at this district for the past 16 years. It goes without saying that my roots in this community are more deeper than most. As members of the governing body, your governing body, you know very well what your roles and your responsibilities are. Some of Director Gonzalez's quest for the city of Calexico, if they were to be carried out, would most definitely step on and usurp your own authority, and this is absolutely unacceptable. It is imperative for governing boards to respect each other's boundaries and roles and to work cooperatively whenever possible. As I mentioned earlier, IID directors are elected by division, but our responsibility is to the entire service area. Director Gonzalez, for whatever reason, believes that he is only responsible for issues facing Calexico. Issues that, given the dire times and circumstances we are facing, are minimal at best. If his approach continues in this direction, it is bound to shortchange all the ratepayers of the district and create much conflict among the cities. In his exuberance and desire to be recognized as, quote, an elected official, Director Gonzalez seems to think that IID is able to pay for streetlights in the city, plant roses throughout the town, and provide any other number of services that are purview of the city and of law enforcement. As you all know, city street lighting is a municipal issue, Calexico being the municipality. And the IID is not responsible for the city's street lighting problems. In cases of city lighting, we have responded and will continue to do so as a courtesy, but the costs are the responsibility of you, the municipality. Please know that we should and will continue to support this beautiful city, but at its own request and not at the directive of Director Gonzalez. It is evident that Director Gonzalez does not yet fully appreciate the importance of a nearly $1 billion budget and the painstaking work that goes into preparing it for the IID. Although he claims that he studied budgets in graduate school. Therefore, it is irresponsible for him to come and tell the community that, quote, IID has lots of money, end quote, and to raise its expectations by making demands and promises that he will not be able to keep. The beach canal is a perfect example of how high Director Gonzalez's learning curve is. As a matter of fact, the issue of the beach canal was first addressed and brought to the table by former Director Matt Desert and me several years ago. And it merits reminding the city officials and the community at large that Director Desert and I pioneered and implemented the change in municipal water rates that were reduced to you, the municipality, by a whopping 63%. In a nutshell, Calexico went from paying $83 per acre foot of raw water to the same amount charged to the farming community of $23 per acre foot. None of this information was ever conveyed to the community. Instead, the rates were raised. At least 3 of the present directors understand very fully that the beach canal is a very desirable project, being one of them. And these directors, as fiduciaries of the institution, have a solemn duty to operate the IID in a way that is fiscally responsible and prudent. Promoting a $6 million project without the funds identified in the budget only elevates expectations and will surely lead to confusion and disappointment. I truly hope that Director Gonzalez is aware that such a project must be approved by the entire board only after having been studied, vetted, and incorporated into the following year's budget, and with full cooperation of the City of Calexico and the County of Imperial. In response to Director Gonzalez's comment that I have done, quote, nothing for Calexico, I would like to mention some of the most salient contributions made by the local entity funds, of which I was a committee member to date. This list ranges from nonprofits to large business to micro businesses. Approximately 21% of local entity funds have gone directly to the City of Calexico. And additionally, over $1.5 million have gone to institutions such as the Imperial Valley Food Bank and the Cancer Resource Center of the Desert, whose caseload is comprised of approximately 30% of Calexico residents, therefore receiving 30% of that funding indirectly. And the list is as follows, and thank you for indulging me and allowing me to make this clear. The overall total of these funds is $11,474,109. Calexico's total is $2,389,825. That is approximately your 21%. AJ Air Tech, Calexico. These are all 2020 awards. $40,000. Art Garcia Gardening, Calexico, $15,000. Calexico Parents Athletic Association, 2020, $10,000. Golden Dragon Restaurant, 2020, $15,000. Marcos Landscape, Calexico, 2020, $20,000. Mexicali Style Hot Dogs, 2020, $5,000. Pebble Ice Cream, Calexico, 2020, $10,000. The 2019 awards are To Go Salads, 2019, $2,500. Asadero Neighborhood, 2019, $20,000. Calexico Baja Boxing Club, 2019, $5,000. Calexico Baja Runners as fiduciaries for some of the other organizations that do not have 501c3, $6,300. Calexico Boxing Academy, $7,500. Calexico Brewing Company, 2019, $50,000. Calexico Parents Athletic Association, $5,000. Calexico Wellness Center, 2019, $20,000. City of Calexico Public Works Department, $10,000. Club de los Amigos, $2,000. First Robotics Team, Calexico High School, $12,500. Imperial Valley Assisted Living, $60,000. Rosa's Plain Food, 2019, $20,000. To Go Salads, again, 2017, we're skipping 2018, $15,000. Calexico Unified School District Culinary Arts Program, which is the kitchen that was just rebuilt, $675,000. City of Calexico Public Works, $150,000. And this is, as you well know, one of the parks, although that is not the only park that we have assisted with. Imperial Valley Assisted Living, $150,000. Little League Baseball of Calexico, $5,000. Neighborhood House of Calexico, $100,000. El Sol del Valle newspaper, 2012, $136,850. Family Style Buffet, $238,927,000, almost $239,000. Neighborhood House of Calexico again, $249,696. And Neighborhood House of Calexico on a different category for microloans, $333,552. Lastly, and just as importantly, I personally have procured 250 new computers, averaging in cost from $500 to $800 each for underserved Calexico Unified School Districts in the past 4 years. With that said, as a member of the IID board, I have worked closely with the City of Calexico, as City Manager Figueroa can confirm, and the Imperial County Board of Supervisors to address issues that are appropriately within our area of service, such as the New River, the Salton Sea, maintaining low energy rates, protecting our Colorado River water rights, and public health. I continue to do so unconditionally and trust that you will contact me should you have any concerns. At this time, I would like to thank you again for your time, and I would entertain any questions that you may have.
Do we have any questions?
My pleasure.
Thank
No,
you.
I'd just like to thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Norma.
Thank you, Director Galindo, for your comments, statements.
Thank you, appreciate it.
I know most of you personally. I think I didn't need to repeat this, but I need the community to know this.
Yes, you are.
Thank you.
We're going into public comments.
Yes, ma'am. I have a gentleman, Mr. Alberto Alviso, who would like to speak over Zoom, so we will ask him to unmute. Mr. Alberto Alviso would like to speak over Zoom, so we will ask him to unmute. And hold a moment. Who would like to speak over Zoom, so we will ask him to unmute. Mr. Alberto Alviso would like to speak over Zoom, so we will ask him to unmute. And hold a moment. Who would like to speak over Zoom, so we will ask him to unmute. Mr. Alberto Alviso would like to speak over Zoom, so we will ask him to unmute. And hold a moment. Who would like to speak over Zoom, so we will ask him to unmute. Mr. Alberto Alviso would like to speak over Zoom, so we will ask him to unmute.
Okay.
We'll proceed with the written comments.
Okay.
Morgan Bundrant. Hello, I hope this email finds you well. I'm a citizen writing to express how I feel these agenda items would affect my community, the livelihoods of people around me. I'm writing for my coworkers who I know and love, line cooks who got COVID and their profession, because they faced disproportionate risk of virus by feeding our people. They also face disproportionate risk of living in a militarized neighborhood and living under constant threat of military and police violence. If your goal is to serve the people, then getting them more pay at the time everyone is in their limit and making their neighborhoods more safe are the only things they have for all of us. She's speaking for more safe, and she's no on item 6 and yes on item 7. That is all I have for public comments.
That's all we have for public comments?
Yes, the rest are for items 6 and 7.
Okay. City managers report. I'm sorry, Gabby, what did you say?
He's done.
City managers report.
Madam Mayor, members of the City Council, members of the community, my apologies, I had to address something with staff. A couple of things here that I want to share with you. To begin with, regardless of the trying times that we're going through with COVID, the affectation of this pandemic to our finances, everything that we know that has happened, there's one thing that we cannot forget. At the end of the day, we have a city workforce that works hard every day to keep the city running. As a result of that, I want to acknowledge and thank my department heads, because this morning we hosted a staff appreciation breakfast in which yesterday Ms. Denise Garcia, Ms. Carla Lovatos, Ms. Norma Gerardo, Ms. Lizeth Legaspi, Ms. Liliana Falomir, Ms. Gabby Garcia, they rolled up their sleeves, they went over to the community center, prepped everything for what would be the breakfast distribution this morning that started for city workers at 6:30, but I do want to acknowledge that the staff members that I referenced got there at 5:30 this morning. We were there. We coordinated ourselves, obviously, following the proper safety protocols, but we were able to provide a warm breakfast to our city employees in appreciation of the service that they give to the city of Calexico. So to them, I want to thank them. I also want to acknowledge the contribution of our fire chief, Diego Favila, and of our police chief, Gonzalo Gerardo. So with that said, kudos to my staff. Regardless of the times, there is always a way to appreciate the hard work of our employees. I also want to acknowledge that this past Saturday, there was a cleanup event in the downtown area of Calexico. A local group of community members by the name of Calexico Needs Change spearheaded this effort. Ms. Liliana Falomir and I were in contact with Ms. Joanna Espinosa that led the effort for this group. We were able to have a couple of staff members assist, provide some equipment to help with this effort to clean up downtown Calexico. As we were doing this, we learned about certain things that need to get addressed, specifically with ways that we can maintain the proper usage of our trash bins, of our trash cans, so transients can properly dispose of any trash. It was a very important lesson that, again, you know, whenever we have community engagement, it does a lot of good. We were also able to follow the city's protocol, and that is that we were able to secure the volunteer forms of everybody that participated from a risk management side. That's really important, and we were able to accomplish that. Ms. Falomir and I have work to do to address some of the things that surfaced, but rest assured, those are things that we're going to deliver. Today, I got word from Dr. Vogt that they are his group, the nonprofits, the community members that he works with. They are looking to host a farm worker testing clinic on Friday at 3 a.m. Today, my development services staff and myself began working with them on the proper paperwork that has to be completed and filled and submitted to the city. On top of that, the coordination with the public safety departments began as well. We're going to be able to close down the parking lot the day before at 6 p.m. so we can assure that at 3 a.m. when the testing will begin, we can have a clear parking lot right there on 3rd and Pollen. My apologies, I didn't specify the location. It's the public parking lot on 3rd and Pollen, right across the street from Doden Avenue.
Okay.
So please be on the lookout as that is coming. And it's important that we continue these efforts and work in unison to make them happen with our local providers. Finally, this is a follow-up item from the council that has been brought to my attention, and Councilman Garcia, who has been asking me to provide updates. I'm very happy to share that officially tomorrow we will begin our strategic planning work for the city of Calexico. Tomorrow we will begin the work with my department heads. We have set aside a window of time in which we're going to be working with a facilitator that's going to initiate the strategic planning work for the city. It's going to begin with staff, and then we're going to move to city council. So I'm very happy, I'm very proud of this because it's been a long time coming that we have this. It's going to be a roadmap that we can use. Aside from that, I want to bring up the Federal Home Loan Bank of San Francisco. Why? Because there is an affordable housing program that the city of Calexico can benefit from. We've been in close coordination with them. We've had a number of meetings now, Zoom meetings, in which we've gotten a better understanding of the process in terms of how we can bring down that program and assist one of the biggest needs that we have in Calexico, which is housing. One of the things that I do want to point out is now that we have an understanding of how that model works, given our previous endeavor to restore and bring back to life the Hollies Hotel here in Calexico, we already at a point in which we've identified some of the nonprofit groups that need to be included into this formula. You have the financial institution, you have the city, but you need that third component, which is the local nonprofit. And we've already gotten on top of that situation as well. So it's a pleasure for me to share these things because these are the things that are really going to make an impact in the needs that the community has. Madam Mayor, those are the 5 points that I wanted to bring up today in my report. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I, Madam
Yes.
Mayor? Miguel, going back to the cleanup and all of that, kudos to the citizens and to the group and whoever, picks up, or takes on the lead, my appreciation and respect to all of them. But also, if we can also go back, and this goes back many, many years ago, where citizens wanted to help, wanted to clean, wanted to take care of parks, clean them up, water them. So all these things that, we have a lot of people that want to do that. But then this other issue that came up with risk management, I understand that. And that they needed to be better, they needed to get insurance and all these things. So if somehow we can, continue to work on this type of efforts, but also making it easier for whoever wants to do that, right? Where we can actually help as a city facilitate people to be able to volunteer. Let's not make it difficult as it was in the past where, if you want to volunteer, you want to adopt a park or those type of things, you will have to get insurance first for such amount of money that it was just crazy, that the amounts that they needed to secure in insurance that they will have to spend. So again, kudos to that. Look into that, please.
Sure.
where you can go back and bring this back and open it to the community. I know we're still going through the pandemic, so we have to be very cognizant of that. But again, work on that and bring it back as soon as possible. So that's on one. On the strategic planning, what are you looking at as far as, time frame of this being completed, or at least that we can have this roadmap that we need to have in place as soon as possible? Because, we're pulling from different directions, and it seems that, we solve one issue. Most of the time we're being reactive rather than proactive. So again, I'm looking forward to seeing this and also getting some timelines as to when we can see where we can maybe go back to the community, let them have some input also. So that will be something great to put out there too.
Absolutely, Councilman Garcia, that's a great point. I'm gonna give like a brief overview of what we're looking at in terms of a schedule. We're beginning with staff. We're gonna identify different needs per the input that we get from department heads. Aside from a SWOT analysis and all the elements that need to get done for something like this, I am also, through the facilitator, we're going to be leaving some homework for my department heads, because we're going to accomplish as much as we can with tomorrow's session. But at the same token, one of the things that we want to plant in the heads of all our department heads is the fact that we want to make sure that they give us feedback in terms of their vision for their department, what they expect, what they want to see. If there is a lesson learned that's been very clear, is that we as a city have dire needs in every department. It's very clear. What I want to do is this be a twofold approach, where they can engage in the current process, which is going to be for a strategic plan that's going to be for the next 3 to 5 years. I'm not even proposing that we do a 5-year plan, just because of what Calexico needs. We're going to address it in a way in which we have a 3 to 5 year plan that's a living document, obviously, but that can provide some immediate turnaround on some of the my repetitiveness, some of the immediate needs that we have, because we have plenty of those. So that's the plan. From then, we're going to jump with the city council members. At that point, I want to engage every city council member so you folks can do the same as the department heads. That's going to follow then by a public, what I would recommend, a public forum in which we can engage it in the form of a city council meeting, where we can also have the input of our partners and obviously the community. We want to be inclusive, but at the same token, in order to address what you're sharing, we need to make sure that we can tell our community that we're going to begin to address some of those things, not in 5 years, but at the halfway point, which is about 3 years. It's not your typical process that we all at some point have been accustomed to. We're making a few changes to make sure that we begin to address the substantial needs that this city has.
Well, I appreciate that, and especially because, since you said, and this should be also a living document that we constantly go back to and update or revise or revisit, because a lot of times, from what I've seen, is that a lot of things get put together, like this get put together as part of a plan or requirement, and then just go on a shelf. So I don't want to see that, and I will make sure that that document and what is on that document, we're going to follow that, because that will be the North Star for our city. So we need to have that as soon as possible. Thank you.
Understood.
Okay, any more questions?
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Figueroa. Okay, we're moving on to consent agenda. Warrants for January 30, 2021 to February 12, 2021. And city salaries from January 30, 2021 to February 12, 2021. Now, do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Councilmember Garcia?
Aye.
Councilmember Romo?
Aye.
Councilmember Ureña?
Aye.
Councilmember Moreno?
Aye.
Mayor Arreola Fernandez?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Moving on to discussion and potential action items. Item 5, authorize city manager to sign change order number 1 with Tom Watson Industries in the amount of $53,731.22
Mayor, did we skip number 6?
for, excuse me?
No,
No, we're fine.
yes.
For sport dining at Adrian C. Cordova Memorial Park, project number 2020-400.
Yes, so let me give the community and the rest of the council a little background. We brought this item on February 17th. We received direction to further look into the item, do some additional analysis. We had the opportunity to have a meeting where we had our Public Works Administrative Manager, Ms. Liliana Falomir, Ms. Carla Lobatos, our Finance Director, and myself. We first huddled, we reviewed the request that was made by the City Council, we looked into it, and then we convened a meeting in which I invited and extended an invitation to Mayor Arreola Fernandez and to Councilman Garcia. We discussed it as a group. We discussed some of the major points related to the item. And what you have here in front of you is an item that addresses one of the critical items that was shared with you on February 17th. And that is the installation of the conduit system so the Imperial Irrigation District can connect to the actual work that is being done. As I shared with you back in February 17th, this project is related to, I would say, an ongoing project that we've been working on as a city for many years related to Adrian C. Cordova Park. At this moment right now, the work that's being requested for your consideration will allow for us to bring to life the lights for the different sports activities that were outlined and discussed at length on February 17th. The two additional items, you may ask yourself, well, what's going to happen with those? Well, in lieu of wanting to make sure that we would be responsible with the expenditures for this project, there is work that will be undertaken by city staff that will reduce the cost, in which right now our focus will only be that work that our staff cannot perform. And that is the work that in this case our contractor for this project will perform, which will assist with the Imperial Irrigation District's feature that they need for the project. So with that said, in ongoing conversations with Ms. Falomir and myself, we determined that this would be a good approach to accommodate the request that we received on February 17th for this item. Madam Mayor, I don't wish to extend myself any longer because I think on February 17th I gave a detailed presentation on this matter. But then again, if there's any comments or questions from council, I'll be very happy to address them.
Thank you. I just want to commend for taking back this item. The staff were working on this item again and showing that, there was at least a 10-15% savings on this, change order. So that is great, and that's well taken and appreciated. So appreciate your work. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, thank you. Okay,
Thank
do
you.
I have you have some?
Madam, thank you to Mr. Garcia for this recommendation and some of this item number 5.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Councilmember Garcia,
Aye.
Councilmember Romo,
Aye.
Councilmember Urena,
Aye.
Councilmember Moreno,
Aye.
Mayor Arreola Fernandez.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Okay, moving on to item 6, resolution to 1, declare certain properties except surplus land under the Surplus Land Act. 2, approve the sale of said properties to the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers pursuant to a purchase and sale agreement. And 3, find these actions exempt from review under the California Environmental Quality Act.
Madam Mayor,
This is, excuse me.
go ahead, Madam
No,
Councilwoman.
I need for have on the table, I make a motion not to sell these 2 parcels.
I will second that motion.
Okay, right now, we're
Okay. please.
It's Mrs. Romo and Mr. Ureña.
Yes.
We have, our attorney is gonna
Discussion.
talk first before we open it up.
A motion is on the floor. Motions can be made at any moment.
I think there was a motion on the floor, and I heard a second.
We're going to debate and talk first before we vote.
Yeah, they're debating, we're not even finished.
Discussion.
But
We
the
haven't even
motion,
got to the explanation.
I understand, but the motion
Okay.
remains on the floor.
Mr. Ureña, will you?
Point of information.
Mr.
Point
Ureña.
of information.
I'm telling you, Mr.
There's a
Ureña.
point of information on the floor,
No, there
ma'am.
isn't. No, there isn't.
I am setting a point of information on the
No,
floor.
there isn't.
Señora,
Mr.
Dios
Attorney.
mío.
Let's just move on with the item. I think with the city manager, we're going to introduce
Okay,
the
city
item.
manager, will you please continue with the item?
There's a motion on the floor.
There's no motion on the floor.
There is a motion on the floor.
No, there isn't.
Can you provide some
We have a first
clarification?
and a second, we need to deliberate now. We have a first and a second, we need to move on with the presentation and discussion. So,
Yes.
It's in discussion in this moment.
It's discussion.
But there is a motion on the floor as he just stated.
Discussion.
Sí, está bien.
Yeah, we're going to discuss the item.
Okay.
Correct.
On December 16th, this item was presented to the Calexico City Council. At that point, the item did not move forward. At this point right now, what we want to do is provide this item for your consideration. At this point right now, I am going to call our city attorney so he can provide a lot of the legal background, a lot of the legal matters related to this item. As we know, we want to make sure that we provide that information from the legal front. So on that note, our city attorney will provide further detail on this item.
Yes, thank you, Mayor, City Council. Just want to highlight some of the salient points that are codified here in the staff report. What point that is new, that we understand there's a perpetual easement on those two parcels, meaning that they're not buildable as is. It would be for the approval of a resolution selling the property to the federal government. The price would be $26,700. Additionally, under the Surplus Land Act that prioritizes the building of affordable housing, because this property would be sold to the federal government, there's an exemption for that. So you would not need you're not required to comply with the Surplus Lands Act, and there's an explanation here in the staff report. This item is for the discretion of the City Council. You're not obligated one way or another to approve or deny this item before you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Open up for discussion.
Sure. I do have some discussion on the motion, but I'll wait until anyone want to go
Open it up for
first?
discussion. Are you,
Sure.
do you want to say, Mr. Ureña?
Yes, of course. I'll go ahead and start. So item number 6 is very dear to the hearts of many Calexicans. When someone comes to visit me in our great city, I can proudly say to them, you can see the border from here. We are right up against the fence, mano a mano con nuestra ciudad hermana Mexicali, la capital de Baja California, ciudad que capturó el sol. You don't have that unity in the double barriers of San Luis, in the double barriers of Tijuana and San Diego. Aquí todos somos familia. The other border communities are familia too. They also did not deserve to be divided in the way that they were. But right now, the ghost of Trump's militarization, border militarization, is knocking on our door. It is a part of our sisterhood as cities on the border to be as united as possible against hate, to be on the cutting edge of what diplomacy is supposed to look like. We have a say in this. We have a say in how we allow or disallow a racist ex-president to complete his project of building a monument of hate here in our city. A monument of hate that will not make us any safer. A monument of hate that makes the trek harder and more deadly for our migrant black and brown brothers and sisters, people from all over the world seeking refuge from the dangerous economic and political situation that U.S. interventions, since the 50s have created. Most notably, what we have caused in the 80s under Reagan, citing the Iran-Contra affair, a covert intervention in El Salvador's civil war that destabilized Central America. And the reason we have those same Central American people knocking on our doorstep. People fleeing what we caused and refuse to take responsibility for will be faced with a double wall preventing them from exercising their birthright of free migration on this continent. In unison, we wish it wasn't here. We wish world leaders would think about the realities of the globality of the trade agreements and the restrictions on migrations that they set to shield themselves from the poverty and the ecological destruction they leave behind. Calexianos, we are a people that are conscious of the poverty on both sides and what this wall means to us. We should not double down on a hateful wall or arm it with any fortifications. I remember clearly when I started work at the Calexico neighborhood house, there was an old newspaper from 1971 that the executive director had in his office. It was a paper where everyday Calexianos were asked on their opinion on the first border wall that Nixon was proposing back in the day, for the first time to separate the cities of Mexicali and Calexico during that year. And a mujer Calexiana said, and with all the reason of history, that wall would create more division and xenophobia for the community, exactly 50 years ago. To that I turn to a proclamation from our President Joe Biden, proclamation on the termination of emergency with respect to the southern border of the United States. And the first couple lines read like this. Like every nation, the United States has a right and a duty to secure its borders and protect its people against threat. But building a massive wall that spans the entire southern border is not a serious policy solution. It is a waste of money that diverts attention from the genuine threats to our homeland security. So, and to that, he proclaims a pause in all construction on each construction border project on the southern border wall, which, to my understanding, includes this. The president himself has put a pause to this project. There's a news story I wanted to share with the council from El Tribunal de San Luis, our sister city to the east, another border town. On the 13th of January of this year, they recently had a double wall installed. And it came out in the Tribunal de San Luis that there were 3 kids, Guatemaltecos, niños preciosos, that were trapped by the double wall. When you vote for a double wall, this is what you get: more death and suffering. I also wanted to comment on an experience that I had at the migrant camp, which, if this would be passed, the migrant camp would be destroyed. We saw an attempted border crossing with a ladder. CBP arrived on the scene, pushed the ladder down, and forced migrants to fall down instead of safely stepping down to their arrest. These are not humanitarians. Secondly, there was a letter addressed to Councilmember Camilo Garcia from San Diego State University students, who were a big part of his political base in making sure that he sits where he is now. I'm going to reread this letter to him to carry the voice of the students that supported him on this matter. It reads, to Calexico City Council Member Camilo Garcia, regarding opposition to City Council action on item number 4, approval of resolution, the item that we're voting now. It says, we, the members of 6 recognized student organizations of San Diego State University Imperial Valley campus, as residents of the city of Calexico, express our opposition and absolute disapproval of the resolution selling 2.5 acres of Calexico's land along the border to the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers for $26,700, and the designation of the land as exempt surplus and the exemption from the California Environmental Quality Act. Our city, Calexico, has been a city grown and developed by the hard work of Mexican immigrants. The resolution includes not only the sale of the borderlands, but also dividing our own people through the creation of a new frontier where cultures have become intermixed and interlaced through the generations. Calexico's population is well known to travel back and forth with her sister city, Mexicali, where most of our kin reside, but more importantly, where many of our values have been inculcated. Mr. Garcia, we urge you to vote no on this item. The borderland can have many beneficial purposes for public work that benefit the community. The land can be used for a variety of creative and innovative ways. Number one, creating borderline connections with our cultures, building infrastructure that boosts Calexico's economy, bringing renewable resources, expanding the downtown's business area, and importantly, maintaining unity, not division. This action demonstrates the Calexico City Council's lack of attentiveness to the needs and wants of our community. We sincerely urge you to vote no on this action because instead of creating a peaceful and safe environment in our community, this action threatens the children and the youth of our community. Utilizing land to install a military and defensive zone is very concerning. Are we preparing for war? If this administration and the city council members are determined to safeguard and create a massive protection plan that will benefit the city's population, we suggest proposing the following as priorities: increasing police department funding, a task force that combats COVID-19, and a plan to lower domestic crimes and gang-related activity. We believe these items to be more propitious to the local community, not on selling borderland. The community has spoken in the recent elections. You and the entire population of our beloved city chose a progressive platform of candidates who are now defending the will and Calexico's residents' dreams. We have elected you as a representative of the community. With that in mind, we urge you to vote against this proposal. Our voices stand in collective opposition to this item. Signed, respectfully, the following student organizations of San Diego State University Imperial Valley: Community Wellness Assistance Cohorts, Chicanos Sin Fronteras, Psychology Club, Aztec Dance Group, Students of Social Work Association, Aztecs around the world. One effect that a double border wall or even a fortification will have is, again, it will make us like San Luis or Tijuana, sharing experiences from the emergency homeless camps that we have. One of the things I routinely see is people from San Luis with Arizona plates coming here to our border city because it's only in our border city that they can still see their deported family members through that wall that we opposed in 1971 as Calexicans. Values and historical context. This land was illegally taken by force from Mexico just 1 or 2 grandfathers ago. Why are we helping the people that hate us, that attempt to bury our history and to inflict damage on our people? The power is in our hands, especially with this new administration in Washington. The people have spoken. The people of Calexico have always been very clear. No racist border wall. We had a record-breaking number of comments at our first meeting. Close to 200 people took the time to comment on the border wall, with not a single voicing opinion in favor of that wall. What the people want right here is as clear as when they asked for the preservation of the COVID committee. This is your choice. This and the hero pay are the type of issues that speak to our values and become tombs of political careers when you vote against the will and identity of a people. We are in a new era of recorded meetings and internet, and trust me, the people will remember just as clearly as they remember what happened here with public restrooms and the COVID committee. If this passed, an emergency homeless farm worker shelter that has been housing working people stuck on this side of the border, and now farm worker women from sexual assault and dangers on the street will be destroyed. It will also destroy the site of a community garden that will sustainably feed people housed by that same farm worker shelter. The camp has been successful in keeping people working, slowly rehabilitating them, healing them, and working them for a better life. It would be an outrage for such a beautiful project to be destroyed to make way for a monument of hate in a 95% Latino community. Don't vote against our values because we will remember. Thank you.
Anybody else have anything?
I'll wait, I'll defer to Ms. Romo.
Well, thank you, thank you very much, Mr. Ureña. Your information is very, very complete. I will just say we should not sell these lands to build a double fence between Mexicali and Calexico. That's it, not once.
Mr. Garcia, do you have anything?
You know what? I know this has been a difficult issue, and that I understand. And one of the things that I always have told people, I'm here because of them, and I'm here because tough decisions have to be made. They might not be popular with everybody, right? And maybe people sometimes choose not to speak up because of, again, like Mr. Ureña alluded, we live in an age of technology, of social media, where that is used in many ways. So I do appreciate all this outreach. I do appreciate all this, reaching out to us. But again, I'm here to serve. Whether it's, for the, next 4 years, and if people choose not to bring me back, if I decide to try to come back again, that's fine. But I can tell you whatever decisions I make, I've done my due diligence. I'm not going to, resource to words of hate or division or militarization of our borders. I think that's just such a strong statements that also have been used so effectively. I think all of us have a common background. Ms. Ureña alluded that we're brown, we're underserved, underprivileged, and all of that. But also, I think we need to make sure that we allow people to also express their opinions freely. I can tell you that some people, not because there were 200 plus comments on this item and none, against it, it's not because it doesn't exist, but that's because they don't want to be target also on social media. They don't want to be target of these campaigns. And again, we are, and I might say this as a headline on social media, because that is very, very well used by people who are very savvy with that, and to precisely, cut and quote, certain things that will serve their purpose. So I'm not afraid of that. They can use it, and they can cite me on that. But again, I'm here to serve everybody, right? I'm here to represent them. I can tell you that, none of those words allude to me. I have been told, that I might be inclined to be in a certain way that I don't want to repeat. I'm none of that. I just want to say that I'm here to represent you. I'm here to make the best decisions based on research, based on my heart for all of you. So again, please don't think whatever decision is made, don't think that it's because of hate or division or us wanting to militarize this zone. So again, thank you for the time.
Thank you for your comments, Mr. Ureña. Thank you for your comments, Ms. Romo and Mr. Garcia. Thank you for your comments. I'm a man of convictions, and as you all know, as a point of reference, in my law enforcement career, I'm all for security and safety. Everybody knows that. After 34 years of doing that, have known that for me and the people I serve in California, foremost is their safety and security. That is absolute, I mean, a necessity for our citizens. Now, we do have unity here in Calexico. We do have unity with both cities, as a matter of fact, because they're called sister cities, Mexicali and Calexico. That's why they were named, because we've always been in unity. You know, whether if you want to call it a fence, a wall, whatever you call it, that object right there, for me, it's meaningless. It's only something that exists in people's mind. We can pretend it's a militarized zone. We can pretend a lot of things. Just like I can take my mask and pretend there's no COVID, right? But it's not going to happen. We don't live in a militarization zone. The last time I checked, I haven't seen any Humvees, any soldiers. I don't see any helicopters flying around here. We're not a militarized zone. We're not a military base. We're a Christian community based on values, where we share the same problems. Yeah, sometimes we don't get along, but at the end of the day, we help each other. We're a farm worker community. I just spoke about 15 minutes on this farm worker center that I wish we can all join so we can address some of those short-term issues that is occurring right there at the encampment. And for your information, just to be clear, there are wraparound services that the county has, including here locally, the Catholic Charities, the Diocese of San Diego. They're here in Calexico. There's services for them. There's shelter for them. There's food, 24/7. There's no need for them out there. There's no need, because those services are for them. I'm also part of the executive board member for the Imperial Valley Continuum of Care Council, which is formerly known as the Homeless Task Force. There's tons of money, programs, help, vouchers for these people. It's available. I would even say reach out to those organizations, and they're there for that reason. So having said that, I am concerned about the safety of those people that live behind. Well, actually, there in the area, immediately in the area. And I did last week, prior to this meeting, I did was able to walk down the streets, and I did talk to a few residents, and some of them don't even know what's going on. And you know why they don't know what's going on? Because they don't care. It's because they're trying to make a living. Some of them have two works. You know, with the pandemic, everybody's home. And so they didn't know what's going on. When I brought it up to them, do you know what's going on back there? No. Do you care? Well, yes, I guess you're here. Well, let me tell you what's going on. And they didn't have the slightest clue. But the bottom line, I asked them, what would you prefer? You want security, safety, or you want us to sell this thing? What do you want to do? Well, Mr. Moreno, look, I don't really know anything about it, but because that fence or that wall, whatever you call it, over the years has provided security for my families. We don't deal with that problem anymore. And I know you have a tough choice to make, but ultimately, how do I address their security? Which is important. So those are my convictions, and that's all I have to say tonight, Mayor.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. I will add on that the same way that people reach out to you, Mr. Ureña and Mrs. Romo, we have people that reach out to me as well, and to the other council, and they're in favor of selling that land. And the main reason is because the government can just come and take it away from us. We might as well get something from it. And that being said, I did ask people in the area. I know people in the area, and they're not happy with those camps being there. And they're not sending in comments, they're not, because they're private people. You know, they don't want anybody to go and throw something at their house or vandalize their cars. So, you know, we're here to serve the citizens of Calexico. And whatever decision we make is because we feel it's the best for our community. Okay, now, that's all? Okay?
Comments?
Yeah, you would quote the comments.
The following comment comes from Marnie Mendoza. Hello, good afternoon, members of the Calexico City Council. I'm disappointed to find out that instead of prioritizing the needs of farm workers, who, by the way, put very food you eat on your table, you've decided to further militarize our community. It doesn't surprise me that some of you on the council and also other citizens of Calexico support the militarization of our city. Holding citizenship, holding certain class identity, etc., has skewed your point of view on things. Calexico does not need to sell the land. What Calexico needs is to take care of its essential workers, its unhoused members, and all other marginalized groups living in Calexico. What Ureña and Romo are doing is what the city should have been doing a long time ago. Where is your empathy, your compassion? We should not be worrying about profits, but about sustaining a community without militarizing it further. To you, Mayor Rosie, I've seen how you address Councilmember Ureña. Instead of taking the time to listen to his concerns, you jump ahead quickly to dismiss any ideas, plans he has for our city. I sincerely hope that you step out of your small mind set and try to see. Ashley Diaz. Buenas noches, council members. As a community member of the city of Calexico, I would like to share my thoughts concerning the 2.5 land sale. This item has been around since December, and if you all remember, La Comunidad communicated a negative approach to this. I urge you all to take a wise decision and not sell this land for the construction of a second wall. This land is currently being used by our essential workers who cross early morning to work on our fields. Please be mindful that the further militarization of Calexico is at stake, and current housing resting space of farm workers as well. We do not need a second wall, nor I want one. We have enough division and policing with our current wall. Let these statements not be dismissed, as well as last meeting, just because no Javier, no Rosie, no Camilo. We will not forget in 2 months your arrogant actions, and we will keep you all accountable for today. Stop the wall. Also, essential workers deserve a hero pay approval, and more than that. El Valle Imperial and Calexico's main employment positions involve essential work. Please consider passing item number 9. Ángel de Dios. Regarding this item, we are urging the council to deny the sale of the 2.5 acres of land. Selling the ground will only add to the existing problems that the community faces. It will militarize the region, and as sociology tells us, militarization can provide more problems. Melissa Ruiz. Let us move away from harmful ways and find healing solutions that serve our unique population. Our resources should be allocated to serve our population in needs. For example, we can invest in housing, healthcare, and well-being for our farm workers who are currently occupying the only space they are able to sustain for themselves. That is where their need is. We don't need to militarize our border wall any further. I want to remind you that the border wall gives life to and supports white supremacy. Let's not sell ourselves short. Let's invest in our communities. Gracias. Melissa Ruiz. Maggie Rosario Garcia. I agree with the item, which will clearly bring protection and order to our borders, especially yesterday's sadly incident where 25 people were in an SUV who crossed the border illegally. 13 of them died in the car crash. This raises the reasons and urgencies to build a second wall, especially after hundreds of migrant families from Central America are waiting for asylum at the border, and many more are coming. I'm with the brothers of Central America, but this could clearly raise a border crisis that needs to be addressed promptly. Rosario M. Garcia. Mark Jacobo. My name is Mark Jacobo, and I am a local educator and resident of Calexico. I am writing to state my opposition to the sale of the proposed land to the federal government. Rather than further furthering the militarization of our community, perhaps the land would be better suited to benefit the community, such as housing the farm workers that are currently situated on the land you intend to sell to build a secondary border wall. Dylan Castillo. I am writing this letter in opposition of the motion selling the land for the proposed border expansion. Rather than focus on what my fellow community members will tell you, I have questions to ask. What is the benefit of Calexico to sell this land? How did you come up with the approximately $27,000 for this piece of land, and what are you planned usage for this money? How did Mayor Fernandez and previous council members Camilo and the rest even decide to even sell the land? What was the reason and intention behind that? Fernandez, Moreno, Camilo have yet to even acknowledge or visit the emergency farm market, migrant camp that our field workers are working using for shelter and safety. Do they not eat food? Are they not proud and supportive of those who sweat and labor provide food to not only our community but also affect our national economy? How out of touch with not only our community but humanity is anyone who would be in favor of selling this land to further militarize our borders, especially when it would put all those already affected at an even greater hardship? We are in a pandemic, and though it feels obvious and mostly everyone, it falls on deaf ears from the opposing council, members who seek to sell this land. How shameful. Now is the time for more and ever to be united on this front, and that is to protect and serve our own people. Please, I urge you to vote against the selling of this land and listen to your community. Marcos Dylan Castillo. Erica Bellis. I am against the sale. We don't need more border enforcement or a stronger border patrol presence. What we need is to assist people seeking asylum at a time when crossing borders is criminalized. Joanna Espinosa. Dear City Council, I urge you to reconsider the sale of this piece of land that could have so many beneficial uses other than to further militarize our border. It now serves as a home for more than 10 agriculture workers who have struggled with being unsheltered and displaced from their homes. They receive warm meals and access to sanitary services, restrooms. The message you are sending by giving up this land to the U.S. military is much greater than you think. $26,000 is not worth this. Please vote no on this item. I am writing in reference to the Army barracks that are on the city property located on First Street. Mr. Ureña states that Madam Mayor instigated a contract with the federal government to sell this property. First of all, it is my understanding that the sale of this property has to go through and be approved by the City Council, which was never done. What gives Mr. Ureña and Ms. Gloria Romo the right to use the property without the consensus of the council? Yet he complains about the mayor's actions. Mr. Ureña, do you know what eminent domain means? If the federal government wants the property, they can take it at will. Stop taking actions on your behalf without proper protocol. You stated that housing for field workers are needed and that there is none available. Meadows and Rancho Frontera have over 120 apartments that are strictly designated for field workers. So stop boasting and making false accusations that there are no housing available for field workers. All you are doing is instigating, and it seems you are looking for some monetary gains, grants for personal use. That's a no-no. Stick to the city projects and let the state and federal government handle their own. Signed, Anonymous.
Madam Mayor, point of order. No, there's a point of order. I am going to, there is a point of order related to the comments, ma'am. There's a point of order. I'm going to read the municipal code right now. No, I am reading the municipal code. Point of order.
Can we just get through maybe the public comments?
No, it's on the
She has to
anonymous
finish.
comments specifically. It's specifically on how we don't allow anonymous comments. So I have to read this right now. That's why I'm making this point of order.
No, she's gonna finish.
There is a point of order, Madam Mayor.
No,
I am going to read the municipal
telling you,
code.
no.
I know you don't like to follow the rules. Keep gaveling. There are rules in the council.
10-minute break.
There is a point of order. No, you have to make a motion. Make a motion. That's not how you take a break. Anyway, point of order. Municipal Code Section 2.04120. Actually, lies. Municipal Code 2.04.150, addressing the council. Item number 8, anonymous communications. Anonymous communications shall not be considered or placed on the agenda, period.
We'll resume the meeting, and our attorney will step up and explain.
Yeah, the Councilmember Moreno raised a point of order. When you raise a point of order, you're saying that something procedurally is not being done correctly. And here he cited municipal code that it does provide that anonymous comments should not be submitted. The city has done that historically, and that's the reason, I think that's why the city clerk read that in, because that's always been, at least the way the city, but the municipal code does provide that those shouldn't be submitted. As a presiding officer, your municipal code provides, as presiding officer, you make the determination on this
Okay.
points of order.
Oh, thank you.
I've been
Okay, we will
raising-
continue then. Thank you.
I'm sorry, what was the
Gabby,
ruling?
will you continue?
What was the ruling?
We're gonna continue.
The ruling on the point of order, though, what was it exactly?
Didn't you hear what he said?
No. The ruling comes from you. What is the ruling? What is the ruling on my point of order?
We're saying that I have
Excuse me,
the,
Yes.
I need the floor for 2 minutes. I'm sorry. Okay. This
No.
has gone far enough, Raul. You have to respect our chambers and stop screaming. Respect this house that so many people.
Are you gonna call her to order?
So this is enough already. You can go get a real job so you occupy yourself with important things and stop destroying Calexico.
Who let her in?
Get a job.
So, and Mayor, just for explanation.
okay, we are gonna continue with the meeting.
Wait,
Go on.
there's no ruling made. You
I
have not
already
made,
said-
she has not made a ruling.
Didn't you explain already?
Correct.
No, but the ruling comes from you.
Okay, well.
What is the ruling?
Okay, the point of order is we're gonna continue.
Ay, Dios mío.
Correct. And then, yeah, generally, we have point of order just for knowledge, either it's well taken or not well taken, then generally you provide a reason or some sort of explanation, doesn't it?
Yes, so it's yes or no and with a reason. So is it yes or
We're gonna
no?
continue, and Mr. Ureña, will you please
Just what?
Yeah.
Follow the rules, ma'am.
okay?
Wait, yes or no? Yes or no and an explanation. You need to make a ruling before we proceed.
I already said, we're gonna continue,
Yes.
okay?
Dios. Como hablar con una pared.
Gabby?
Mark Wheeler. Dear City Council members, I urge you to vote against the sale of the land along the border to the federal government. Please develop that land, either for beautification of that part of the city, for the sake of those living in the nearby affordable housing, and for the citizens of Calexico in general, or for the civic purposes such as public toilets, public showers, public water fountains, and other resources that would be beneficial to citizens of Calexico, or 3, choose both 1 and 2. Thank you for your attention in this important matter. Mina Kalamani. Hello, I am writing to express my concerns over the upcoming vote of actions 8 and 9, reading the agenda publicized to Calexico's government website under the agenda for March 3rd. Please consider for the following points. No on 8, which is tonight's number 6. Calexico City Council proposal to sell the land along the border to the U.S. government is both needless and cruel. Several of Calexico's communities that live on those lands would be unnecessarily displaced, and since the government does not have sanctions in place for residents on lands that have been sold to the government, your city's residents would be very likely suffer acts of mistreatment violence, and trauma from the subsequent relocation of residents. Additionally, use the land as border protection would imply increased militarization of those lands. This would negatively affect the community as increased military presence. Rene Arvizu, Calexico should say no to the proposal and should take care of their workers. They should all look at what the Labor Commission has to say before they take up initiative and ask ourselves, what is the solution to the problem that we have here? I can say no to all. There is no need to have conversation at this time in particular or in the next 20 years, no matter how bad this is in terms of job security and the economic development and competitiveness, and in the whole lot of ways. We're going to see this happening because the current conditions are very, very bad, and the problem is there, was never a solution. Thank you. Eric Vizcarra, I do not intend to chastise or lecture the council on the morality of this sale for a mere pittance, nor do I intend to wax rhapsody about the assault on the vulnerable community currently using the land for emergency shelter. There is a right and wrong choice here, not only morally, but from a policy perspective. Selling this small tract of land has an almost insignificant pecuniary benefit, the purpose of which is it shall be put in antithetical to effective, efficient border security, and it would needlessly worsen the lives of an already suffering group of workers housed there. Samantha Ramirez, I am writing to you to express my concerns about the use of funding to continue militarizing the militarization of our community. We have schools, homes, parks next to the border where children and community members exist and live in. To expand law enforcement would mean to have weapons, violence, and dehumanization of peoples right in front of children and community members. This funding could better be used to beautify the parks and the city where our community members spend their time. There is no threat from our neighboring Mexicans, for which many of us also identify with or as. It is ridiculous, racist, and dehumanizing to believe that people who do not have a paper passport do not have the same right to the land that was rightfully Mexican land. Before we set up a fence, what we need is to break down borders, both internal and physical, to make this community one of acceptance, safety, and love. I hope you consider my humble thoughts and the safety of our community. Alejandra Matus. I've been a resident of Calexico ever since I was a child. I graduated from Calexico High School in 2016. I've been studying out of town until last year when the pandemic made my class go online, and I have to come back home, and rent in my college town is too expensive. I've gone deep within Chicano studies during college. I've seen how systematic oppression has affected our community in Calexico, especially during the Trump administration. And while he is no longer in office, the obsession the U.S. government has to restrict and militarize the borders is just awful. This is part of the long history between the U.S. and Mexico, where the U.S. has taken advantage of our fellow people in Mexico, lowering the restrictions when they want to have laborers and wanting to kick us out when they no longer need us or want us. If Calexico mainly consists of immigrant community, where it deeply depends on its international people to keep going, why do we want to further militarize our neighborhood for the money? With all due respect, I don't trust the council members to use the money to good use, as whenever I've come back to visit Calexico during my college years, I would always see another store closing down, another empty building, slowly but surely becoming a ghost town, forgotten by its own local government. I don't know where the money goes, but it is certainly not going to the community. This is why I strongly oppose item number 6 in the agenda. Stop militarizing Calexico and focus on what really matters. Rene Arbizu. Borders kill, do not militarize Calexico. Selling that land is unnecessary. You have essential workers sleeping in the streets and you prefer to sell the land they live on. When you look at Calexico, people from Calexico feel a fear that it is being used exclusively to make money. They know it isn't sustainable and they have to live and work on this planet and they fear the future. They think what happens if they do not go out into the streets and make money for people's jobs is like what we would see if we were here today. They fear the future and their food and the jobs they create because they do not want it. Ernest Alexander Limón. Siendo sincero, no se debería construir el segundo muro. Hay otras prioridades en Calexico, un ejemplo, downtown y la mayoría de la calle Rockwood que ocupa ser repavimentada en su totalidad y modernizar Imperial Avenue, ya que es nuestra avenida principal con nuevo alumbrado. Vender el muro no haría Calexico prosperar. $28,000 no servirían de mucho para el municipio. Melanie Beaver. Good afternoon. My name is Melanie Beaver. I'm a citizen of Calexico, and I'm against item number 6 being passed. I believe there are many other ways this land can be put to use, such as housing, where it be for the homeless community or for essential farm workers. I have another one that I'm going to read with several names on it. Hello, Calexico Council. I am expressing my opposition to the sale of the proposed land of the federal government. Before you make a decision, remember, once this land is sold, it will never be a part of our city again. It will further militarize our community, which has been dubbed by many, including some of you in the council, as our sister city. However, this action would prove otherwise. We cannot normalize having absurd amounts of barbed wire next to kids' playgrounds and elementary schools. This 2020 election elected a new president, one who we hope, or at least promise, to be more understanding to the needs of our people as a border community. The Imperial Valley and Calexico voted overwhelmingly for this, which would make the approval for this sale go against the wishes of the community of Calexico. The lack of transparency from the council regarding this sale is appalling. No community input has been acknowledged or even asked for. Mr. Moreno said on Inauguration Day, "We are here to serve." I hope you put aside your personal politics and vote for the wishes of the community you swore to serve. Currently, there is an emergency farm workers camp at this very same site that the majority of the council has refused to even visit. They established this as a form of protest to show you all that this land can be repurposed to something else that other than another border wall, but also a result of lack of affordable housing in Calexico. Do the right thing and reject this proposal for sale and work to beautify our city, not divide and militarize it. Thank you. Katia Lopez. Kayla Gomez. Josh Vidal Robles. Rudy Maldonado. Grace Sepe. Leslie Pinedo. Jimmy Vasquez. Samuel Jimenez. Carolina Villa. Marco Rizzo. Carmina Ramirez. Ana Cabrera. Annette Torres. Alan Arreola. Alanis Gaitán. Elizabeth Jaime. Esteban Ojeda. Esther Soffer. Fabián Rubio. Gilberto Manzanares. Grecia López. Laura González. Isabel Ureña. Hugo Castro. Marcela Dávila. Ángel Esparza. Destiny Navarro, and Carolina Villa. I also have Mr. Eric Reyes, who would like to speak.
Okay.
Hold on a moment. Reyes, who would like to speak. Hold on a moment.
Hello, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Is there?
Who would like to speak. Hold on a moment.
Okay, am I on? Hello, can you hear me? Oh. Can you hear me? Is there?
Who would like to speak.
Okay, am I on? Hello, can you hear me?
Can you hear back?
Yeah. Is the word? No. Yeah. Okay, Calexico is obviously and indisputably tied together through history, culturally, and economically. Mexicali is a major source of our workforce and economic source for Calexico's economic development. Tied together, Mexicali also supplies the overwhelming workforce economically. Imperial Valley's $2 billion plus ag economy and other hard-labor jobs for a large share of the large earned pay with the merchants of Calexico for basic necessities. The community responsibility cannot just take from Mexicali, but instead must also give the generations of Mexican laborers and multi-generational families who have raised and enriched our community dignity and respect by not selling the declared surplus land to U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, regardless to further militarize our borders. The existing border fence is sufficient. Yet we must stand with our neighbor or sister city, Mexicali, and both known. We are two communities, we are two countries, one community. We should unify, not militarize. The proposed amount of money Calexico we spend to no difference in comparison to the positive impact Mexicali has on Calexico, the Imperial Valley, and our nation, and will minimally impact Calexico's budget for a week to 2 weeks if that. I say let the U.S. government use eminent domain if they so choose to do, but you will not have so evicted. I respectfully enter this as a former teacher of 16 years at Calexico High School, and as an adult, I dedicate my life to farm workers and people on the border. You will not, I hope you take this into consideration. Respectfully, must not allow our dignity to be sold for $6,000. Thank you.
Point of information, a quick question for Attorney Campos. Point of information. Does this level of participation, these technical difficulties that we keep experiencing, can we ever be sued for what's happening here?
You know, obviously right now we're working under an emergency order from the governor. Honestly, these are issues that everybody's going to be dealing with, and I think if the intent here is being made to provide public access, whether through, I know we have Zoom, Facebook, I think you probably should be okay. But like I said, this is unprecedented times, and even to allow for these type of meetings are only because the governor has adopted an emergency order allowing for virtual meetings. So generally, I think as long as we're doing, and we are trying to provide a medium for people to provide access to public comment. It's not perfect, but I think we know the city's doing what they can. And these technical difficulties are issues we have seen with a lot of other agencies sometimes. And I think the goal here is to try to make public access as best as we can. And there are other mediums. I know Facebook is also one to get.
They can't comment through any of the other mediums, unfortunately.
Yeah.
This is the only one we have.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of these issues. I mean, somebody could always, but I think if the intent here is we are trying to provide public comments and we're just having technical difficulties, I think we're probably okay on that because we are doing the best we can.
Okay, could we continue?
Okay, I have the comment from Mr. Christopher Wong. I do not support the sale of the land. Increased militarization of public space is unacceptable. It's only going to look and feel more like a police state that it already does and will only bring increased suffering for the people living there.
That's all? Okay, to continue? Now, do I have a motion?
There's a motion on the floor in a second, and actually, point of order. Municipal Code 2.041110, subsection C. The council member moving the adoption of an ordinance, resolution, or council action shall have the privilege of closing the debate. And to do so, since I seconded the original comment, I will go ahead and close the debate. Camilo Garcia said, well, my question to Mr. Garcia as we close down this debate, you went on to justify yourself on why you don't want to represent the community with your vote and doing what they tell you to do.
Mr. Ureña, you already, when we came to the
Madam,
item.
point of order, Madam
when we
Mayor.
came to
Point
the
of
item,
order, Madam Mayor. Point of
you
order.
already had
Point
your
of
turn to
no,
talk.
Madam
You already
Mayor.
had your
Point of
turn to
order.
talk.
No, Madam Mayor. Point of order. This is not how this works.
Okay,
There's a
you already
point
had
of
your
order.
turn to talk.
There's another point of order I'm raising.
It's the same, we're going to the same, last time we did a point of order.
Okay, the point of
Now
order,
there-
I'm
now
the
there-
point of order. He's gonna stop talking.
Madam Mayor, point
You're
of
gonna
order.
stop talking.
Madam Mayor,
No,
point of order
no.
number 2. I have a second point of order. Let me
Okay.
read it to you. Let me read it to you.
Will you please?
Let me read it to you. Point of
No.
order.
I'm
Point of
saying no.
order. No puedes decir no a una point of order. That's not how that works. Municipal Code 2.041110, subsection Code B. A member, once recognized, shall not be interrupted when speaking except for a call to order. If called to order while speaking, a member shall cease speaking until the question of order can be determined, if an order shall be permitted to proceed. Do you have a call to order? And what is it? And first you have to rule on subsection C, actually. You didn't rule on the first point of order. I'll remind you, the first point of order was subsection C. The council member moving the adoption of an ordinance, resolution, or council action shall have the privilege of closing debate. Go ahead and make your ruling.
We're gonna continue.
Madam Mayor,
We're gonna continue.
is that the ruling on the point of order? I'm unclear as to what you're saying we will
We're gonna
continue.
continue, and,
She hasn't
we
made
have
a
a motion
ruling.
on the floor.
And a second.
Do I have a?
There's a motion and a second to deny the resolution.
Yes, there's a first and a second to deny the resolution.
Sure, now we get to vote, so let's
Yes.
vote.
But
Council-
first, go ahead, just vote, go ahead.
So let me go back. What was your motion?
My,
The motion on the floor is to deny the resolution that's on the agenda.
yes.
And we have a first.
To deny what resolution? The sale of the land?
Yes.
Correct.
Yes. Not to sell.
So not to sell, that's the motion. And
Yes, it's
second by
to
Ms.
deny
Roma.
the item essentially.
Yes.
Okay.
Was my
Councilmember
vote.
Garcia?
Wait. So, again, so he's done with his comments.
Yes, he's done with his comments.
Right.
So
The
the
presiding officer already
So,
stated.
so the point is now that the motion was to deny the sale.
Correct. That's the motion that's on the floor right now that Gabby's ready to do a roll call on.
Councilmember Garcia?
No.
Councilmember Roma?
Yes.
Councilmember Ureña?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Moreno?
No.
Mayor Arreola Fernandez?
No.
Motion does not pass.
Madam Mayor,
Okay,
point
now
of
moving-
information,
we are
point
going
of
to-
information, Madam Mayor.
We want
I'm,
to finish this meeting.
I know we want to
Okay.
finish the meeting, but
You-
there are
you're gonna give
rules.
me a
Madam,
chance to
Madam
say
Mayor, point of information, this is relevant to what's happening right here. Municipal Code 2.041130. Every member shall have the right to have reason for such member's dissent or protest against any action of the council entered in the minutes. And the only thing I would like to add to my affirming vote is I will not stand up for a racist wall that the majority of Calexicans oppose.
Okay, I'm sorry, can you explain it to me again, please?
Yes. Any member shall have the right to have reasons for a member's dissent from or such member's protest against any action of the council entered on the minutes.
Can we also include not to call it militarization zone?
What's,
We're not in a militarization zone. We're not a military base. Can we also include something like that? Some word to that?
yeah, to your vote.
I mean, to your statement.
Well,
I just like to call, it should be called a military zone because we're not in a military zone.
Yeah, we're not.
I mean, can we do that since you're adding your comments?
yes, you are allowed to do that.
Okay, so.
To,
Not to
he
call
would
it
like to
military.
add to his comment, or to his vote, that we are not a militarized zone.
We could continue?
Mhm.
Okay.
Motion to table the item?
Now, we're gonna continue
Is-
with, item 6.
There's a
We
motion.
have a motion on the floor.
Motion to table the item. Is there a second?
Second.
What table, what item, Mr. Ordeña?
Item number 6.
Item by the name, please?
Yes, of course. It's the resolution to sell, 1 second, let me get the complete thing. To sell surplus land on, hold up, 2.5. I have it right in front of me. Motion to table item number 6, resolution to declare certain properties exempt surplus land under the Surplus Land Act. Approve the sale of sale properties to the U.S. Corps of Engineers pursuant to purchase and sale agreement, and find these actions exempt from review from the CEQA.
Second.
So to be clear, your motion is to take that item out of the agenda?
To table the item, yes.
Madam Mayor, may I take a roll call vote now?
Yeah, the first,
No.
second,
Okay, this is confusing. You better, could you explain this?
If they want to take it off the agenda, tonight's
That's
agenda.
basically it, just take it off.
So if, once we're done with deliberation, we have a first and a second, Gabby can take a roll call on the motion on the
Why
floor.
don't we take it off the agenda?
Well, that's what he's
Councilmember Garcia?
asking, so we gotta vote on it.
It's a
Yes,
motion.
There's a,
No,
there's a
that's a motion.
Councilmember Romo?
Yes.
Oh, wait, I have some
Councilmember
debate,
Ureña?
I have some debate on the motion,
We're
actually.
voting.
not- I know but we're voting on
We
a,
are voting,
we are
sir.
voting,
Have your vote.
we are voting on a different motion. We have to debate this new motion. I know there are rules, we have to follow them.
Will you please continue with our meeting?
Yeah,
Okay, we
I'm,
have
I'm,
people
I'm trying to
watching.
debate the motion on the
Okay,
floor.
Will you please, yes or no?
Yes. No, I'm trying to debate the motion on the floor. May I be recognized? Y- Madam Mayor, may I be recognized to debate the motion on the floor?
Okay, Gabby.
Councilmember Ureña?
I want to debate the motion on the floor.
Okay, Mr. Ordeña, she's a presiding officer, she has the authority to overrule you,
Okay,
do you know
we're
that?
gonna continue
Do you
with
know
this.
As a
Aye.
presiding officer, she has the authority to do that,
Aye.
right?
Mr.
Aye.
Aye.
Mr. Campos?
Mayor Pro Tem Moreno?
And I would like to amend to my vote. I do not appreciate that we sometimes do not debate, that we don't debate on motions on the floor. That's not what a good presiding officer does. Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Moreno?
No.
Mayor Riola Fernandez?
No.
Motion does not pass.
Okay. Can we continue now? Item 6, resolution.
The floor is open right now, there's nothing for discussion.
How's that?
The floor is open right now. There was a motion.
No,
it was denied.
they already motioned it.
That's what he's
Okay, he
saying.
made a motion. Okay, let's back up. Okay, you know what you're doing? You're confusing us, okay? So stop it.
So right now,
No,
there's
Mr.
there's
Campos,
no-
can
there's
you
nothing
explain
on-
what's
there-
going on?
There's nothing on the floor right now, so just think about it right now, think about it, it's a clean slate right now. I mean, just, think about, there
Starting
was two
all over.
motions, they haven't
Okay,
failed.
so we're
right
starting
now,
all over.
It's a clean slate, that's the best way to
We're
explain it.
on item 6, resolution to declare certain properties exempt surplus land under the Surplus Land Act, to approve the sale of the said properties to the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers pursuant to a purchase and sale agreement, and 3, find these actions exempt from review under the California Environmental Quality Act.
I make a motion
on
to
the-
sell the land.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Councilmember Garcia?
Aye.
Councilmember Romo?
No.
Councilmember Ureña?
No, and I would like to add to my vote very briefly the reasons I'm voting against this. The first one is the proclamation with respect to the southern border, that President Joe Biden has made clear his intentions not to move forward with the process. so we are needlessly selling this land. And number two, there has been no plan for the 10 migrant workers that will be displaced by the selling of this land.
Mayor Pro Tem Moreno?
Yes.
Mayor Arreola Fernandez? Motion passes 3-2.
Okay, moving on to item 7, Hero Pay ordinance for agriculture, grocery, restaurant, and retail pharmacy workers.
I will make a motion to
Do I
approve.
have a back, Mr. Can you give us information?
Presentation on the item. This was an item that was requested. The item is being brought forth as a result of COVID-19. Numerous cities and government jurisdictions have considered hero pay as a matter to assist essential workers. At this point right now, I'm going to call upon the city attorney to complement the presentation of this item, as he was the individual that helped draft this item. Thank you.
Thank you, City Manager. I'm going to highlight some of the points that are codified in the staff report for you and also for the public. This hero pay ordinance would provide premium pay to agricultural, grocery store, restaurant, and retail pharmacy workers. The ordinance right now doesn't have an amount in it, and if a council was considering it, we would need to provide that amount. But cities have generally adopted between $4 or $5 for premium pay. This ordinance before you would only apply to larger businesses, those that have to meet two prongs. One, they have to employ 300 employees anywhere nationally. It could be outside of the city. And then they have to employ 5 employees locally. So there's 2 prongs to that. If you don't meet the 300 employee threshold, then this ordinance wouldn't apply. So that would be the first one. And then you have to have at least 5 employees locally. The ordinance, once adopted, would be effective for 120 days, unless extended by the city council. Other provisions of the ordinance for the information, it provides a notice of rights. So if any employers covered would have to provide written notice to their employees of this ordinance and the premium pay. They would have to retain their hiring record for a period of 2 years. There's specific language in here prohibiting retaliation as a result of this ordinance. It provides a remedy section. It provides a private right of action, which means that the individual individuals impacted by this ordinance that would be due this premium pay, they can on their own file an action to enforce these rights. As the city manager commented, other jurisdictions have adopted this. And I do want to point out there has been litigation on this item. The majority of the agencies that have adopted this have been sued by the California Grocery Association. There's a case at Long Beach, a temporary restraining order here was held about a week and a half ago, and the good part was that the city was successful for on the injunction. So with that, I don't know if council has any specific questions, and I'm happy to answer them for you.
I have public comments, Madam.
Okay.
Alejandra Matus. It is clear this pandemic has greatly affected everyone in federal government hasn't taken care of it properly. The people most affected are essential workers, which are included as grocers and restaurant workers, as well as people who work in the crop fields. These people are the people that have kept the overall country going, preventing us from starvation, yet also have a history of being ignored and mistreated. The least we can do is give them the proper compensation for risking their lives every day during the pandemic to keep things going. prevent us from starvation and disease. So my vote is yes on the item for the hero pay. Thank you for your time. Ismail Arbizu. The essential workers deserve the hero pay and the bathrooms and many other things. Maybe even give insurance to your own janitors that you keep part-time to make them stay right below the eligibility bar. Maybe the city can help us out and pay for the bathrooms in front of Donut Avenue on 3rd Street. Bill Hodge. I very much hope the city council votes yes on the farm worker hero pay, and other essential workers have been exploited on wages and working conditions historically, and it is far overdue that they receive a living wage. Therefore, please vote yes for the hero's pay. When the workers are paid better wages, it stimulates the economy, and everyone wins. Ángel de Dios. We want to demand the council to be opposite of nonchalant when it comes to pay for essential workers. The pandemic cost us the lives of many of our citizens. Still, essential workers see the falling bridges around the community and decide to wake up every day, shower, eat, and go to work. Their work provides benefits to our community through the production of goods and communication of goods. We urge the council to pass the hero pay ordinance. Council, we need you to listen to the community. It is about time that positive change arrives. It is about time for all of you to realize that the job that you hold in your seat is to provide us, the community. Thank you, Familia del Valle. Ileana Fernandez. Dear City Council members, as a local pharmacy technician, I have worked throughout the 1 year of this pandemic. I strongly believe that the pharmacy, agriculture, and grocery workers deserve hero pay for their commitment to provide services for our community of Calexico. With the hero pay, you would be recognizing the hard work we have all done and will keep doing every day. Vanessa M. My name is Vanessa, and I'm a pharmacy technician at companies who have not stopped working since the pandemic started a year ago. We haven't changed working hours either, Monday to Friday, 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. Weekends 96, working day and night to serve our community, to have medication available for who needs it. Keep in mind, we have to fill so many COVID treatments for people, learn how to conduct COVID testing, all of this little time to learn, not little time to prep, and I'm not going to lie, it has been stressful, full of fear and getting sick, having so many people just walk up to us being COVID positive. It's scary, but if we aren't here, then who else can help all of these people who need it? Work has just been a balance between helping, trying to stay healthy, and dealing with out of town. Thank you. Work has been just a balance between helping, trying to stay healthy, and dealing with out-of-town people, co-workers getting sick, being short-staffed, and trying to keep good attitude in face of all this that we have never faced before. Will more money fix everything? Well, no, but it sure helps out a lot. It is rewarding, and it helps pay for our personal things. In my case, it's childcare, and as I have to leave my 1-year-old to care and provide for, I really hope that you vote to approve this, not only for me, but for all us workers who serve you, serve the community, and everyone who needs it. When others got to stay safe at home, we had no choice because it's part of the community and everyone who needs it. And when others got to, we have no choice because it's part of who we are and our career. Thank you for your time. Please don't let us down when we need you. Thank you. Ruth Silva. I work as a pharmacy technician. I think Hero Pay would be great incentive for grocery and retail pharmacy workers because we risk our life every day with this virus. Our store did not cut hours. We open Monday through Sunday, receive patients who we didn't know if they had COVID. Some of my coworkers got infected, including me. Some of us had to pay extra for childcare because daycare is closed. So in my opinion, this extra pay would be great help and will motivate us on serving our community better. Thanks for your support. R. Fernandez, J. Moreno, R. Ureña, G. Romo, C. Garcia. Melanie Beaver. As for item number 7, I am in support of it being passed. The essential workers of Calexico deserve more than just verbal recognition for their hard work and should be properly rewarded. Thank you for your time. Ismael Arbizu. The essential workers deserve the Hero Pay and many other things, maybe even given insurance to your own janitors who are part-time and make them stay right below the eligibility bar. Ursula Santiago, since the pandemic, we essential workers have not been treated as we deserve to be. We risk ourselves every day in order to fulfill our duty to our community. We only got a few months of Hero Pay and then it ended when the pandemic was worse and we most needed it. We should have had our Hero Pay through all 2020 and this year as well until we all are vaccinated at least. We deserve to be treated with respect and to be acknowledged by our government, to be treated as we are essential workers. We are a key to the community's well-being. We work for them every day to keep even the slightest normal in this reality. Thank you for letting us express ourselves and tell you what we really think and what we really feel about the situation. I hope that our Hero Pay gets considered again so that we can get a little more for the sacrifices we've made so far because we deserve it. Valerie Gutierrez Espinosa. I have been a pharmacy technician for Rite Aid Calexico for 2 years now. When the pandemic hit in March, I was 7 months pregnant, working full-time. It was very stressful, and it was a very stressful environment. I got every day and pushed myself to serve the community of Calexico, but I couldn't any longer because I ended up in bed rest in the last 2 months of my pregnancy. Upon returning to work, I noticed the pharmacy still lacked proper safety protocols. We are 2 with newborn babies, and it was tough having to work and risk the health of our infants. No one wanted to do them because they were afraid of getting infected, so they put us young, brand new moms to do it. We have worked our butts off, constantly explaining to our patients that one of the busiest pharmacies in Calexico. On top of our regular patients, we had to deal with the COVID patients and other patients who often get aggressive because we deal with so many people. I am in for this Hero Pay. We deserve it. Thank you. Erica Vélez. Passed the Hero Pay ordinance. Essential workers have helped us keep afloat during the pandemic by enabling other people to work from home and by supplying resources at a time when there have been shortages. We need to be able to help workers stay home if they are ill, but many live paycheck by paycheck. I doubt the Hero Pay ordinance will solve all the problems, but it's a great place to start. Black Lives Matter Imperial Valley. BLM Imperial Valley vehemently opposes, this is on the sale of the land. I'll read it.
Excuse me?
This got mixed up with the sale of the land. May I continue? May I continue reading? Yes. Okay. Black Lives Matter Imperial Valley vehemently oppose the proposed land sale along the Mexico-U.S. international border to the U.S. government to expand the enforcement for 26,700 and support the Hero Pay Ordinance for Calexico essential workers. The Hero Pay Ordinance would require agriculture operations, grocery stores, restaurant and retail pharmacy work stores within the city of Calexico to provide temporary premium pay for essential workers. Essential workers have been at risk of COVID-19 infection in California and deserve the opportunities, dignity, and consideration affordable. Your support is deeply appreciated. Thank you. Sincerely, BLM Imperial Valley. Jerry Espinosa. Hello, City Council. I am a resident of Calexico and I work for UFCW Local 1167 as a union representative. I represent Calexico Food for Less members as well as Rite Aid members, and I ask you to please take consideration in passing the Hero Pay as well as other workers who qualify for this short-term Hero Pay who obviously deserve it for themselves and family. Dignity and respect for the workers. Thank you and stay safe. Joanna Espinosa. Field workers are essential workers. Raising their pay is the least we can offer them during these trying times. Please vote yes. Se los pido de corazón. Marilyn Carrillo. I am a resident of Calexico and I am in support of Hero Pay Ordinance for Calexico essential workers. I would like to see Calexico adding on to other counties like LA and Oakland by adopting a similar ordinance. We need to support those in the front lines, those who can't have the privilege of working from home, those who are extremely vulnerable. I urge Calexico City Council members to protect those who need them, and most especially during these times. I would also like to express my disapproval for the selling of the land to the U.S. government. Jay Beltran. The reason why I deserve the Hero Pay is because we are workers who are very exposed to being able to contract COVID due to our customer service. I am an asthmatic person, so I try to take care of myself and protect myself as much as I can. But due to my work and to so many people who are infected and sick, I am very vulnerable to getting sick, and I don't know how I can face the COVID. My system due to my respiratory problems. As many as us take our precautions, they should also be more strict with our clients and that follow the correct protocol because they don't want to take care of themselves. They make us sick. Alberto Galvan, Honorable Mayor and City Council members. I wish to convey strong support for Planned Parenthood Action Fund for the Pacific Southwest for adoption of the Hero Pay Ordinance for agricultural, grocery, restaurant, and retail pharmacy workers. The ongoing pandemic has made it clear that agriculture, grocery, restaurant, and retail pharmacy workers in Calexico are vital to our collective health and economy. It is appropriate for these essential workers to be paid fairly, compensated as they continue to perform critical job functions that benefit the health of all residents and those who work and visit the city. On behalf of our Planned Parenthood Action Fund of the Pacific Southwest, I respectfully request that you adopt this ordinance tonight. Thank you. Katie Luna. Good evening, Mayor Fernandez and council members. I submit these comments to you on behalf of many of my membership who operate in Calexico and the whole Imperial Valley business community. We strongly oppose the adoption of the Hero Pay Ordinance. Just a few weeks ago, I presented you to the work we have been doing to sustain the business community through one of the hardest and most unexpected economic crises in our lifetime. In March of 2020, the business community was asked to shut down overnight, and for almost a year now, they have struggled to keep their doors open, bills paid, their workforce willing to work. For those essential services, the strenuous circumstances required that they pivot their operating strategies to accommodate employee and consumer safety beyond normal operating measures. Also, throughout the past year, businesses have had to take loans just to survive downturn, reconfigure working conditions, and curate PPE, all the additional costs paid out of pocket. and now by law, employers are mandated to pay all employee expenses related to COVID, which can range up into the thousands per employee. The Hero Pay ordinance could have unintended outcomes despite its well-meaning intentions like loss of stores, jobs, food security, through an exacerbated, already fragile food access system. Such outcomes are already evident in Seattle and Long Beach, California. We sincerely believe that when the policy is enacted about the business community without input from the business community, there are negative consequences. We also believe that we can create the better proposed ordinance. While our business community has not always thrived, it's safe to say that imposing a Hero Pay ordinance will further kill our economy and create additional job loss. It is important to consider that the Hero Pay ignores the reality of operating a finally sustainable business that will not protect frontline workers from COVID-19. To protect frontline workers, and employers need to our community leaders prioritizing vaccinations and advocating for increased vaccine allotment. These vaccine rollouts will protect all employees and will get the economy back to functioning. It is also important to consider that the proposed Hero Pay ordinance in Calexico would require temporary premium for employees in agriculture, grocery stores, restaurants, and retail pharmacy stores. But the essential worker classifications runs much deeper, and just these industries adopting this ordinance is discriminating against other essential services such as city personnel. For those businesses who are fortunate enough to weather this ordinance, rest assured that these increased costs will extend down to the consumer, furthering the economic crisis and providing no real solution. I urge you to oppose this ordinance and instead work alongside your business community to provide solutions to the struggles they are facing right now. And this letter comes accompanied by 49 signatures. Jose Lu, Calexico Market Inc., Fernanda Manning, Tony's Market, Alicia Lu, California Supermarket, Araceli Aras Fashions, Janet Lopez, Alpha J2B, Irma Piñuelos, Jesus A. Garcia, John S. Kim La Familia, Rudy A. Kim, Francisco Beltran, Lulu's Fashion, DeLong and Jang Dave, Ashi Sion, LA Fashion, Rosa Alcalá and Campos, Der Chang Wang, Chang Store, Soul Hi-Fi, Sona Viva Max, Maria Lopez, Rocas Jeans, Esmar Badami, Edis Fashion, Ana Charar, Planet Filings, Lorena Valenzuela, Modern Cleaners, Alonso Wang, Econcentro, Jose E. Flores, To Go Salads, Walter Martina, Gourmet, Andrew Lemos, Zumias, Rodrigo Mirada, Carolina's Kids Clothing, Jose and Carmen Escoto, El Batman Authority, Jose Escoto, Air Force Air, Patricia T. Chao Ramirez, Golden Dragon Restaurant, Su Yuk Ling Chao, Chao's Apartments, Alex Tamayo, Baja Sun, Marina David, Jet Harvest Inc., Jose A. Lopez, Prime Agricultural Services Inc., Teresa Robertson, El Don Farm Contracting, J.D. Ma, Hope Pharmacy, Armando Rambo Copy Center, I'm sorry, I can't read the last name, Cecilia Valdez, Kenneth Lowe, Beatriz Romero, Margarita Sanchez, Econ Hardware, Mr. Romero is CW Express, Leopoldo Lu, California Supermarket, Johnny Wang, Yum Yum Chinese Food, Louis Wang, Yum Yum Chinese Food, Christina Wang, Yum Yum Chinese Food, Jack Wang, Jum Jum Chinese Food, J.D. Ma, Home Pharmacy, Claudia Calderon, Calhoun Insurance, Ernesto at Calhoun Insurance. That is all.
I will make a motion to approve the proposed hero pay ordinance with an increase of $3 an hour and a modification of the grocery store definition that lowers it from 70% to 30% so that we can include Walmart grocery and Walmart pharmacy workers. Is there a second?
Second.
Councilmember Garcia,
No.
Councilmember Romo,
Yes.
Councilmember Ureña,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Moreno,
No.
Mayor Arreola Fernandez,
No.
Ma'am, I'm being told that we have one more speaker via Zoom. Actually, we have two. Actually, we have two. Actually, we have two.
We're gonna have to continue that.
Okay, Gavin. So we're gonna continue the meeting?
Yeah, it's already 9:30, but
Ana Cabral.
excuse me?
Ana Cabral would also like to speak. So let's see if she
It's-
logs on.
Ana Cabral,
Ana Cabral.
and commercial worker union.
Ana Cabral would also like to speak.
Our union represents over 20,000 commercial worker union. Our union represents over 70,000 retail pharmacy, agricultural, and restaurant workers. The COVID pandemic has taken an enormous toll on our essential workers since the thousands of frontline workers in grocery and pharmacy retail stores have worked under extremely stressful and hazardous conditions. While everyone was asked to stay home, these workers continue to show up, providing necessary food, supplies, and medicine to our communities. Workers have also had to deal with hostile customers.
Okay, Gabby, we already voted on it. We already voted on it.
Motion fails, actually.
Motion doesn't pass 3-2.
No.
I'm sorry, apologize.
It was a 3-2 vote, right?
Yes.
Yeah, ordinance says you need 3 votes, so it passes. Excuse me?
It didn't pass. It
Oh,
was
it
3
didn't?
no, 2
Oh,
yes.
okay, I thought it was 3. Okay, got it.
Okay, we have already voted? Okay. Moving on to 8,
Madam
appointment by
Mayor,
City Council of a General Commissioner to the Calexico Housing Authority Board.
Madam Mayor, point of order. I think you have to, before moving on to the next item.
No, we're already going to the next
Madam
item.
Madam Mayor,
We are
point of
going to the
order.
next
Madam
item.
Mayor, please, can you
Put
please listen
this
to my
up.
point of order?
Mr. Campos?
There's a point of
We
order on the
already- we already
floor.
voted.
I know,
We already
Madam Mayor,
voted.
that is
We
what I'm
already
trying to tell
voted.
you
We're gonna
about.
continue.
Madam Mayor,
We already voted.
the motion failed. You have to now make a motion to deny the hero pay. You haven't killed it yet. You have to make the motion to kill it. Make the motion to kill it. The motion failed. We're still on the item.
No, we didn't. Gabby,
I mean, you're still on the item, you
did
can,
you take,
if there's a, you can move on the item if there was the will of the
Yeah.
council. I mean, you
she took note of it.
Yes, but the motion failed.
No, it didn't fail. How did it fail?
Because 3 voted no. Wait, what was the original motion? What was the motion that was voted on? Because I made a motion.
Okay, we're gonna
Wait,
continue.
hold on,
Okay,
hold
no,
on. There's a point of order.
You know what?
There's
We're
a
gonna
point of.
figure out now. We
Señora,
already voted.
señora,
No.
señora,
We already
señora, por favor.
voted. Mr. Campos,
We made a motion to approve and it failed.
correct.
So therefore, there has to be.
Right, it failed, right?
Yes.
I couldn't hear all the votes, I thought, listen, I want to confirm, okay, so it failed. No, I just wanted, if you recorded correctly, then that's appropriate. Yeah, we can take a motion, deny it, or council, you could also just choose to move forward to the next item as well.
She is moving forward.
Gabby, what was it?
It was 3-2, did not pass.
Okay. Moving on to item 8.
I have other motion.
Make the motion to deny the hero pay so that it can get.
Okay, appointment by City Council of a General Commissioner to the Calexico Housing Authority Board.
I have other motion for the number
Do you have a
7.
motion to appoint someone?
The first motion
Do we-
is,
I think
So the,
Councilwoman Romo was making a motion.
yeah,
Do we have
the first motion no pass, but I need other motion, okay?
we already voted.
Okay, yes, it's the first motion. I have
mean,
other
did we
motion.
move on, or trying to clarify,
Okay,
like
it's-
either, there's, the motion failed, so at the end of
Okay,
either we can entertain another motion, or there's also the will of the council to just move forward.
And she's moving forward as a presiding officer, that's what she's doing.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Appointment by City Council of a General Commissioner to the Calexico Housing Authority Board. Now, do we have someone that we would like to appoint?
I have Carla Flores to appoint.
Okay. I
I make a
second.
motion.
Councilmember Garcia,
Aye.
Councilmember Romo,
Aye.
Councilmember Urena,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Moreno,
Aye.
Mayor Arreola Fernandez.
Aye.
Motion
Now-
passes.
Now we have one appointment to the Park Recreation, Beautification, and Senior Services Commission. And I nominate Susana Favela. Do I have a
I'll
second?
second that. I'll second.
Okay.
Councilmember Garcia,
Aye.
Councilmember Romo,
No.
Councilmember Urena,
No.
Mayor Pro Tem Moreno,
Yes.
Mayor Arreola Fernandez.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Now we have one appointment for Personnel Commission.
I make a motion to appoint Carla Ibarra.
I second.
Councilmember Garcia,
Aye.
Councilmember Romo,
Yes.
Councilmember Urena,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Moreno,
Aye.
Mayor Arreola Fernandez. Motion passes
Okay, it is
unanimously.
9:30 and this meeting is going to be adjourned. I'm sorry about, we're not going to do any
City Council comments. Wow.
comments. You guys in agreement?
I move to adjourn.
Mr. Garcia, you in agreement?
Was there a motion or?
Yeah, I move to adjourn.
Second?
In future item, no?
Councilmember Garcia,
Aye.
Councilmember Romo,
No, what is the motion?
The
To
motion
adjourn
is
the
para
meeting.
acabar la
Adjourn
junta.
the meeting, it's already past 9:30.
It's past her bedtime.
Okay, I have a question for the Mr. Campos. What is the problem? I have other motion for the number 7.
I didn't, those motion,
Excuse me.
if you made a motion, it wasn't
Yeah,
seconded. I think the council had already moved on to.
en un item puedes tener 2, 3 mociones, o sea, what happened? Murió la primera,
Gabby,
había
what
otra y no
was
me
the
dieron
motion
la
on number 7?
oportunidad. For
No,
what?
it's 2 to 3, 3 to 2. Yeah.
It's the first motion.
No, it was
Madam.
3-2.
But I need other motion.
Yes, and she asked everybody, so it was, okay.
Okay, so the presiding officer moved on, and we have to respect their decision. That's the
Okay,
way it
so,
is.
now, it's past 9:30, so Mrs. Romo.
Councilmember
we're gonna-
Romo,
We're gonna end the meeting.
That's okay.
is that an aye
But
to adjourn the meeting? No?
no,
Councilmember Ureña?
we're gonna.
No, and I would like to state the reason for why I'm voting no in protest. Absolutely disgraceful to silence public comments, city council comments on such an important item when I wanted to acknowledge the death of the 13 people that died in the car accident and ask for their justice, but I guess I will have to do so at the next meeting.
Mayor Pro Tem Moreno?
Aye.
Mayor de la
Aye.
Fernandez? Motion passes 3-2.
Thank you, everybody, this meeting's adjourned.